Chapter 1099. There were 3 gigantic cyan birds driving the carriage. They were cyan birds. 2 women were standing in front of the birds. An old man was standing on the left side of the carriage. A woman was standing on the right side. Behind the carriage were 4 men in black clothes and 4 women in white dresses. "Princess, we're in the continent of the 9 clouds," said the old man on the left side of the carriage. "The continent of the 9 clouds city," said a clear voice from the carriage. They were flying. The imperial chariot and the group of people flew in the air, attracting the attention of countless people. In fact, Princess Qingluan's carriage was different from the ones used by emperors. Actually, it was a high-level phoenix carriage. It was a carriage for women with high social status in the dynasty. The phoenix carriage arrived at the gate of the continent of the 9 clouds city. When they arrived at the gate of the continent of the 9 clouds city, the carriage landed. The old man on the left side of the carriage bowed and said, "Princess, we're here." "Wait," said a voice from the carriage. At that moment, the guards of the continent of the 9 clouds city moved. They appeared on both sides of the carriage with weapons in their hands. "How dare you disrespect us? Do you want to die?" said the old man fiercely. "Greetings, Princess Qingluan. Who are you? You're too arrogant, aren't you? Do you think the continent of the 9 clouds is your home?" After the purple cloud sovereign appeared, he cupped his hands at the phoenix chariot and looked at the elder in black standing in front of the phoenix chariot. "Mr. Zhua, you can leave," said a voice from the carriage. A voice came from the phoenix chariot. Then, the beaded curtains in front of the phoenix chariot moved and a woman appeared. She was wearing a golden dress. She didn't have any accessories on her head, only a jade hairpin and 2 ribbons. She had a beautiful nose and red lips. She looked majestic. "Greetings, Emperor Zi Shao. I'm here to visit the continent of the 9 clouds." "Sorry to disturb you," said the woman, nodding at Emperor Zi Shao. "Princess Qingluan, you're welcome to visit the continent of the 9 clouds." "Please come in," said Emperor Zi Shao. The top forces of the supreme world were powerful, but the realm of the 9 heavens wasn't affiliated with anyone. Therefore, when Zhuo Tongfei reprimanded the guards of the palace of the city leader, Sovereign Zi Shao retaliated. He also expressed his attitude that they were welcome to travel, but this wasn't their territory. After entering the city lord mansion and sitting down, Princess Qingluan glanced around. "Is Senior Divine Knight Monarch not here? My senior brother went into seclusion a while ago, so Lord Qing Emperor sent me a message. Only I can receive Princess Qingluan's trip this time." The purple cloud sovereign said. "So it's like that. I've seen the Emperor of Godly Clouds once before. This time, I'm going to pay you a visit. It seems like the timing is not good, so I can only forget about it. This time, I came to the continent of the 9 heavens. My father's fortune teller predicted that a group of virtuous people would be born in the continent of the 9 heavens. I haven't seen any virtuous people for many years, so I want to meet them. Living beings exist in the world, as long as they don't do evil, they have some virtuous deeds. I don't know what virtuous people Princess Qingluan is talking about," said the purple cloud sovereign Zi Shao. When Knight Sorrow participated in the competition of the first saint of the 100 worlds, he knew that Knight Sorrow had a virtuous body. At that time, Knight Sorrow's virtuous deeds were only in the 9 regions world. A while ago, when Knight Sorrow went through the Culpa test, the purple cloud sovereign was sure that Knight Sorrow also had virtuous deeds in the continent of the 9 heavens, and his virtuous body had been activated. At first, he didn't know how Knight Sorrow got his virtuous deeds in the continent of the 9 heavens. Then he thought about the soul cultivation liquid that Knight Sorrow had obtained in the boundless soul world. At least the Black Sky Monarch had used it, which meant that the continent of the 9 heavens had improved its strength. "My father's diviner told your majesty that the virtuous person is very virtuous. I have to see such a person. Besides, the Culpa test appeared in the continent of the 9 heavens." "That's a big deal," said the purple cloud sovereign. "I'm sorry about that. There are 100 worlds in the continent of the 9 heavens. The continent of the nine heavens city is a place where the 100 worlds gather and solve disputes. However, it's not the ruler of the 100 worlds, so I don't know much about it, said the purple cloud sovereign. I understand. Your Majesty just wants to walk around casually. I don't know if the purple cloud sovereign can borrow a guide so that your Majesty doesn't have to go around asking questions, said the purple cloud sovereign. Tell Commander Enran to come here, said the purple cloud sovereign to the guards in the hall. After a while, a woman in silver armor came into the hall and bowed to the purple cloud sovereign. It's Enran's pleasure to meet you, Lord Monarch, Enran said. This is the purple cloud sovereign. The purple cloud sovereign wants to travel in the continent of the nine heavens. You'll be the guide. You can't be careless, said the purple cloud sovereign. I understand. I'll do my best to protect the princess, said Enran nodding. You don't need to protect them. I'll just be the guide, said the purple cloud sovereign. Translator, Endless Fantasy Translation Editor, Endless Fantasy Translation, Your Majesty will leave now, said the purple cloud sovereign. She stood up and walked out of the palace. The purple cloud sovereign was unhappy. She had talked to the Qing emperor and investigated the continent of the nine heavens. The continent of the nine heavens didn't submit to any group of the supreme worlds. In the purple cloud sovereign's mind, a group of high-level worlds didn't have the confidence to face the top groups of the supreme worlds because the top groups of the supreme worlds had countless subordinate worlds. They were very powerful. It was easy for them to destroy a group of worlds. For example, the Qing Emperor's dynasty had more than 20 subordinate high-level worlds. But today, the purple cloud sovereign didn't show any flattery or humility. Princess, they're very rude. Aren't they afraid that we'll attack them and conquer them directly? Said Zhuotingfei. There's a good saying. A warrior can be killed but not humiliated. Maybe there are more warriors like that in the continent of the nine heavens. At least the higher-ups have the strength of character. It's meaningless to attack them, said the purple cloud sovereign. I just think that the princess shouldn't be bullied, said Zhuotingfei. In the continent of the nine heavens, the purple cloud sovereign was only the daughter of a leader of a top group. But in the reincarnation world, it wasn't like that. The purple cloud sovereign controlled the purple cloud sovereign army. There were countless king sovereigns under her command. In the battle with other top groups, she had never lost. She was an invincible figure in the Qing Emperor's dynasty. Since it's a trip, don't think too much. We must find the virtuous merit saint because such a person is worth training and using. The virtuous merit saint isn't rare. The virtuous merit king is very important. If it's the virtuous merit monarch, it can change the situation, said the purple cloud sovereign. I understand, said Zhuotingfei. There's a pill tribulation in the continent of the nine heavens. We must find the person who caused it, said the purple cloud sovereign. Chapter 1100. Commander Enran, come to your Majesty's side. Your Majesty has some questions for you. Princess Qinghuan, who was sitting in the phoenix carriage, called out to Enran who was some distance away from the phoenix carriage. Princess Qinghuan, please feel free to ask, Enran said. The purple cloud sovereign didn't say anything to Enran. He hid night sorrow from Enran. He didn't make any other arrangements and just let nature take its course. Your Majesty is the Qing Emperor of the reincarnation world, Qinghuan of the Qing dynasty. She came to your nine firmament world to do some things. Your purple firmament monarch is also clear about this. Do you understand this point? Princess Qinghuan said. Enran understands. We will cooperate fully. Enran nodded. This was Princess Qinghuan's brilliance, as well as her way of ruling. She first explained the relationship between the high and low ranks. Take us to a quiet inn in Jiushao City. Also, in the past 300 years, have there been any outstanding people in Jiushao world? Asked the Blue Phoenix monarch. Around 300 years ago, Yao Dao from Demon Moon world entered King's realm at the age of 1,500. 220 years ago, Qin Han from Yuanling world entered King's realm at the age of 1,300. And Ran thought for a moment and said, "Are there any more outstanding and younger cultivators? Or someone with great influence?" Princess Qing Yuan said. Zhuo Tengfei scoffed at Ran's answer. Entering the king realm at over 1,000 years old was common in the supreme world. For latest. Chapter 1, the most influential person is king, but he is very old, so Ran doesn't know the details. Also, there is a very influential young man in the last 10 years. Princess Qing Yuan, there is green bamboo villa in front of you. It is also the quietest inn in Nine Heavens City. And Ran didn't care about Zhuo Tengfei's smile. She just wanted to do her job as a tour guide. Then stay here and rest. Bai Ling, you go make the arrangements. Also, the young man you mentioned, how young is he? After Princess Qing Yuan instructed the maid, she asked and ran again. I've heard that he's only 100 years old. He's the leader of the first saints in the continent of the Nine Clouds. He's a half-king, and he has high-level willpower. He's also fighting against 2 kings. Those 2 kings can't do anything to him. Many kings have been looking for him recently, but they haven't found him, and Ran told him about Night Sorrow. A half-step king realm around 100 years old. If he's not stuck, then he's very powerful, the Blue Phoenix Sovereign said. It's normal to be stuck for a few thousand years. If you can't break through to the king realm, it's not strange for your lifespan to run out. You don't have to brag so much, Zhuo Tengfei looked at Ran and said. What did you achieve when you were 100 years old? Don't be so sarcastic. I'm a guide. I'm Princess Qing Yuan's guide. I'm not here to look at your face. And Ran turned her head and looked at Zhuo Tengfei. Zhuo Tengfei had made fun of her for the first time, but now he was belittling the people of the continent of the Nine Clouds. She couldn't stand it anymore. You dare talk nonsense with me? Zhuo Tengfei was angry, but he didn't attack because Princess Qing Yuan was giving orders. Alright, old Zhuo, don't say too much. Commanderin, don't be so angry. Tell me about this young man. At this moment, the Phoenix carriage landed. Princess Qing Yuan walked out of the Phoenix carriage and waved her hand at old Zhuo. That person is called Night Sorrow. He appeared 10 years ago. At the meeting of the first saints in the continent of the Nine Clouds, he showed that he had 90% empty space willpower. He can enter the king realm at any time. It's said that he came from a small world. After he appeared, he caused some trouble. I don't know the details, said Ran. 100 years old, 90% empty space willpower. Mr. Zhuo, send people to investigate him, said Princess Qing Yuan to Zhuo Tengfei. Zhuo Tengfei then told the 2 men in black. Under the guidance of the maid, a group of people entered the green bamboo villa and stayed there. Letting Ran rest and wait for the arrangements, Princess Qing Yuan sat in the main seat of the inn, thinking. Princess, the people of the Nine Clouds world don't know how to appreciate favors. A small commander dares to make a fuss. Zhuo Tengfei was angry. Zhuo Tengfei was a commander of the Qing Yuan army, and also a guard of Qing Yuan. He had a high position in the Qing Emperor dynasty. At that time, Your Majesty said that a warrior can be killed but not humiliated. The cultivators of the Nine Clouds world have a warrior's strength of character. Even a small commander has pride in his bones, said Princess Qing Yuan. But 100 years old with 90% empty space willpower is really impressive. Although Zhuo Tengfei didn't give Ran a good face, the news about Night Sorrow still shocked him. That's one of the reasons. The half-step king can fight against more than one king's forces. It proves that he's very brave. The fact that he hasn't been dealt with means that he's brainless. He's a genius. Princess Qing Yuan analyzed and came to a conclusion. Dig him out and bring him back. Princess, you can teach him a lesson. He can be useful in the future. Zhuo Tengfei nodded. He agreed with Princess Qing Yuan's analysis. It's not easy. He can fight against king's forces. It means that he's not a person who compromises easily. Let's see, said Princess Qinghuan. After 7 days, the people sent by Princess Qinghuan returned with detailed information about Night Sorrow. They even found out that Night Sorrow had participated in the Dan King conference. They also found out that Night Sorrow had a relationship with Big Dipper City's Sage Pavilion. He entered the boundless territory and got the 10,000 life boundless fruit. He also entered the boundless soul realm. It's very likely that he got the soul cultivation liquid. Not bad, let's go to the sky profound world. Princess Qinghuan was more interested in Yishang. It didn't matter whether Yishang was a person of merit or not, or whether he was related to the pill tribulation. She wanted to meet Yishang. In the teleportation array, Lord Shen Tian's soul clone appeared. He casually talked with Princess Qinghuan and left. Then, Princess Qinghuan went to stay in Big Dipper City. King didn't react. He couldn't stop Princess Qinghuan and he didn't want to go up to her. He just ignored her. This situation made Zhou Tengfei and the others very angry because they didn't put Princess Qinghuan in their eyes. Forget it, there's no need to bother about these things. It's normal for them to reject us. However, Night Sorrow isn't easy to find. Let's look for him for a while. Also, investigate the person of merit carefully. If it doesn't work, we can try using Sage Wan's divination plate. However, it's hard to say if the divination plate will lock onto Night Sorrow. Princess, we don't have a guarantee. If we aren't in the same world as the person of merit and the person who triggered the pill tribulation, the divination plate will lose its effect. We'll lose a trump card. Zhou Tengfei said. Divination masters could use divination plates based on the results of divination. However, divination plates had many restrictions. After all, it was against heaven's will. Many divination masters didn't have this ability. Chapter 1101. Then continue to investigate. Investigate the person of merit, the person who triggered the pill tribulation, and Night Sorrow. Princess Qinghuan gave the order again. At this moment, in Bei Do Manor, Big Dipper King, Greedy Wolf King, and Bei Xing were drinking tea. How arrogant, using a phoenix carriage when going out, and even having a Saint King level beast pull it. Bei Xing took a sip of tea and curled his lips. She has the right to be arrogant. Her personal attendant is an overlord, and her guards and maids are king. How can she not be arrogant? Big Dipper King said. Her personal attendant is an overlord? Bei Xing's eyes were filled with disbelief. Lord Shen Tian Overlord sent a message to me. Princess Qinghuan herself is an overlord. She has a overlord personal attendant, and the guards and 3 maids are king. Big Dipper King nodded to Bei Xing, she's really strong. Bei Xing exhaled and said. Reincarnation world, there are many world groups around it. There are dozens of world groups affiliated to the Qing Emperor's dynasty. Think about it, our 9 Firmament world group has dozens of overlords. How many overlords can the Qing Emperor's dynasty mobilize? They have the qualifications to not put our 9 Firmament world group in their eyes. At this point, the Beidu sovereign king was also very helpless. World groups submitting and becoming affiliated forces, that's really disgusting. They don't have any strength of character. Greedy Wolf King said. The only original version was P4, and the others were pirated. Big Dipper King shook his head and told Greedy Wolf King and Bei Xing some facts. No matter the size of the space world, high level or low level, it was not a stable world without a realm master. Overlords and king couldn't enter, but saint kings and saints could, right? Without anyone noticing, after setting up the realm teleportation formation, sovereigns would enter and forcefully conquer it without any difficulty. A world with a sector lord was different. This was because the sector lord could sense the tearing and shattering of the world's barrier through the world's origin. If someone entered, they would sense it and would not give others the chance to enter and sneak attack and occupy the world. The reason why the 9 Heavens world had not been invaded was that the origin of the 9 Heavens world was relatively strong. It could perceive the situation of the world barrier and communicate with the sovereign of divine sky and the sovereign of Zishao. It was difficult for other worlds to break in. At present, the teleportation formation could be dismantled at any time. Besides, no force was willing to do something that was strenuous and unrewarding. Of course, if they offended the top forces of a supreme world, it was inevitable that they would be destroyed. That was the situation in the group of the Nine Heavens world. The situation in the other groups was different. They couldn't resist the invasion of other top forces, so they could only become affiliated worlds and develop under the leadership of the core forces. They were on the same war chariot as the core forces. The Nine Clouds world group was located in the middle of the reincarnation world and the black-yellow world. Because there was some distance between them, the forces of the two worlds had not attacked the Nine Clouds world group yet. It's so hard to live. I have to always look at other people's faces. Bei Xing's voice was a little low. There are exceptions. The Zhang Di of the black-yellow world was born in a small world, but his strength is unparalleled. The indigenous world he was born in is as stable as Mount Tai. It has been renamed the Spiritual Warrior's World. The Big Dipper King said. The Zhang Di. That's a very domineering name. Bei Xing said. Of course, he is one of the supreme figures in the black-yellow world. He can stand shoulder to shoulder with the black-yellow Great Emperor. The Big Dipper King said with a smile. Let's not talk about this. It's confusing. This time, Night Sorrow is safe. They can't do anything. Bei Xing said. At this time, another group of people appeared in the teleportation formation of the Nine Heavens world. The leader was a man with a crown. This group of people was very rude when they arrived at the palace of the Nine Heavens city. I am Chi Du, the sixth son of the Red Emperor of the reincarnation world. Now I want to take away the people of the Nine Heavens world with merits. Please cooperate with me, sovereign of Zishao. Chi Du entered the hall of the palace of the city and said very impolitely. I don't know. If you want people, go find them yourself. The sovereign of Zishao looked at Chi Du coldly and said. How dare you be rude to me? Okay. If this goes well, I will let you go. If not, you wait. Chi Du narrowed his eyes and glanced at the sovereign of Zishao. Then he took his people and left the palace of the Nine Heavens city. Watching Chi Du and the others leave, the sovereign of Zishao sighed. He was helpless when he was not as strong as them. He knew that the divination technique of the reincarnation world was very powerful. If the Qing Emperor's dynasty could discover it, so could the Red Emperor's kingdom. The sovereign of Zishao knew that this was the doom of the Nine Heavens world and also Night Sorrow's doom. Chi Du investigated for a while. The result was the same as Princess Qing Yuan. They all pointed to Night Sorrow. The difference was that Chi Du took his people to Biji City. Yan Tianpe did not give him face. His battle doppelganger took the teleportation crystal of the teleportation formation and left to hide. He only left a doppelganger to send a message. When Chi Du and the others arrived at the teleportation formation, Yan Tianpe directly said that the Wuji world did not welcome outsiders. You are the world lord. We can't break into the Wuji world, but we can flatten your Biji city. Chi Du said with an ashen face. If you dare to touch this seat's two extremities city, this seat will be able to create clones unceasingly. None of your descendants will be allowed to leave this place. Otherwise, you should understand. Don't doubt the veracity of my words. Remember, at that time, I will stop at nothing. I will be as ruthless as I can be. After saying those words, Yan Tianpe's spiritual clone directly dissipated. Do it. Flatten this place. Chi Du was so angry that his hair was flying. Young lord, you can't. The world lord of a world is immortal. This guy is a mad dog. There is no need to be hostile with him. An old man beside Chi Du said. Chi Du's face was ashen. He flicked his sleeves and left. Although he was infuriated, he really couldn't do anything to Yan Tianpe. Yan Tianpe's original body was immortal. Could he always find trouble with his opponents? Chi-Du wasn't afraid. Then why should the descendants of the Red Emperor be afraid? Not everyone had the ability to protect themselves. Since he couldn't make a move on Biji City, Chi-Du went to the Tianding Gate to investigate. Under the Black Heaven Monarch's message, the members of Danding Peak were hidden by Old Xiang. Chi-Du didn't find anything. His final target was Big Dipper City. When Chi-Du and the others arrived at Big Dipper City, Princess Qing Luan knew about it. She knew that the situation was complicated. "Princess, why don't we make a move and make them unable to return?" Zhua Tingfei said. "It's very difficult. They have left their own territory. It's impossible that they don't have any backup plans. Didn't Tai Er say that Chi-Du has Chi Nantian beside him? We can win, but killing all of them will be difficult. Besides, we have more important things to do. Don't bother about this mad dog," Princess Qing Luan said. Tai Er was one of her guards. Chi-Du was a little famous in the reincarnation world. He was famous for his viciousness. Chapter 1102. Princess, if we find the target and want to take it away, Chi-Du and the others might interfere. Zhua Tingfei said. "Don't worry, if they dare to talk nonsense with us, then kill them. They found the target first and spoiled our plans, so kill them too. They can come here to play, but if they want to get something, they can't stop us from getting it," Princess Qing Luan said. While Princess Qing Luan was talking with Zhua Tingfei, her other guard, Yin San, came back and reported what happened in Two Extreme City. Princess Qing Luan had a guard and 3 maids. Among the guards, the 4 males were ranked in iron and the 4 females were ranked in silver. As the World Lord, you have enough confidence. You don't need to give anyone face. If you dare to shout at them, they will dare to threaten you. Chi-Du, this mad dog, is embarrassed. Princess Qing Luan had a rare smile on her face. Reincarnation world was a supreme world, there were many top powers. The Qing Emperor's dynasty and the Red Emperor's country were neighboring powers, the hatred between the two was very big. Chi-Du also admired Qing Luan, but Qing Luan despised Chi-Du's sinister personality and slapped Chi-Du's face. The two could be said to be life and death enemies. Now that Chi-Du was defeated, she was naturally very happy. Afterwards, Princess Qing Luan sent people to investigate for another half a month, but they didn't get any news. In the past 300 years, the 9 Firmament World Group didn't have any powerful characters, only Night Sorrow. After Princess Qing Luan gathered her subordinates, she took out the divination disc and activated it. Now that the Red Emperor's country was interfering, Princess Qing Luan didn't want to delay any longer. It would be best if there was a result from the divination disc, but if there wasn't, she would slowly investigate. After the divination disc was activated, the stable arrow on top moved. After a while, the arrow pointed to the sky. This was a hint that the target wasn't in this world, but then it shook again and pointed to another direction. "Princess, what's going on?" Zhua Tingyun didn't understand. Original body and clone, this divination disc is looking for people with merit, it can't be 2 targets. This hint should be the difference between the original body and the clone. Princess Qing Luan's lips curled up slightly. She was afraid that she wouldn't be able to find the target. It would be best if the target was the main body, but it didn't matter if it was a clone. She felt that she could deal with it. At this time, Night Sorrow was refining weapons. He had already refined 2 king-grade swords, and now he was preparing to upgrade Spacebreaker. This was related to the battle strength of his avatar. As for the materials, he had spatial essence iron and some auxiliary materials. In terms of personal material collection, Night Sorrow was not inferior to anyone. He had done many expeditions, and every time he had a great harvest. At this time, only Xueshi was taking care of him in the small house by the 7-Night Lake. Xueshi was already a star Saint King. Xueshi was here because Night Sorrow couldn't chase her away. The others had already been chased away by Night Sorrow because this place could be discovered by Princess Qing Luan at any time. As for completely avoiding her, Night Sorrow also thought about it and felt that it was impossible because Seven Night City couldn't run away from here. If the other party found this place, then she had a certain understanding. If he avoided her, then the result was very likely that Seven Night City would be destroyed. The destruction of Seven Night City was very likely to be light, but a heavy one would implicate many people. Night Sorrow was very careful in upgrading Spacebreaker. He also used the best materials he had accumulated. Positive P version array after array was carved, then smelted and hammered, then carved again, hammered and smelted again. A king-grade weapon needed to be hammered thousands of times. Shweshi was at the side brewing tea and holding a towel. Sometimes, she would help Night Sorrow wipe his sweat. Of Night Sorrow's 3 weapons, the Samsara, the Skysplitter, and the Skysplitter Spear, the Samsara had been crudely forged. Its grade was high because it had been nourished by the divine weapon energy of the 9 regions' origins. Night Sorrow had even upgraded it. Now, he was forging the Skysplitter with caution because he wanted to build a foundation. Spatial array, time array, energy vibration array, rotation array. When Night Sorrow was refining, he added a lot of array. They were all tailor-made for his battle skills. Half a month later, Spacebreaker was once again forged by Night Sorrow. There was a silver dragon coiling around the black pole. That was a densely packed rotation array prepared for the spatial whirling dragon kill. There was an energy vibration array inside the pole. The tip was also an array that coordinated with the wave force. When Night Sorrow was carving the last array, Princess Qing Luan brought people to the lakeside of Seven Night Lake. Although it's not very polite, they are still guests. Brew some tea and receive them. After Night Sorrow instructed Shweshi, he continued to carve the array and then continued hammering. Night Sorrow's words made Princess Qing Luan stunned, but she didn't have any words to refute. They directly flew over, which was equivalent to trespassing on other people's territory. It was impolite in itself. Stand guard further away. Don't let others disturb this place. Qing Luan waved her skirt and sat down. She let the guards go to the side. The main reason was because Night Sorrow was now at the crucial stage of forging weapons. As she observed, Qing Luan's face was filled with shock. Because he wanted the array to be perfect, Night Sorrow used different energy and will of heaven and earth to activate the array of different attributes. Spatial energy, time energy, will of space and will of time were constantly displayed. At this crucial moment, Night Sorrow couldn't hide it. In addition, Qing Luan's sovereign also saw the golden light of virtue behind Night Sorrow's head. Cultivators were all patient. Night Sorrow needed a lot of time to forge weapons, but Qing Luan's sovereign could wait. Finding a target was something to be happy about. Time slipped away bit by bit. Princess Qing Luan arrived 2.5 days later. Night Sorrow finished forging Sky Splitter. After carving the word death on the back of the handle, Night Sorrow flipped Sky Splitter upside down and cut his wrist. A stream of red blood with a hint of gold sprinkled on Sky Splitter. Name is Sky Splitter. You will accompany me to conquer the world. Night Sorrow roared in a low voice. At this moment, the sky was dark. The tribulation cloud had already appeared. Night Sorrow ignored it and held Sky Splitter horizontally with both hands. Soon after, his right hand shook. 3 sets of battle skills, Space Whirling Dragon Kill, Space Vibration Wave, and Time Vibration Force, were released. A black hole was created in the space. Following which, spiderweb-like cracks extended to a radius of 3 feet. Soon after, the space collapsed. Seal. Night Sorrow waved his left hand. The will of space burst forth, sealing the turbulence in the space hole. Following which, the space quickly closed. At this moment, the tribulation cloud rumbled and a thunderbolt struck down. Sky Splitter, which was originally in Night Sorrow's hand, shook and soared into the sky. It carried a murderous aura as it rushed towards the thunderbolt. You are my, Night Sorrow's, weapon. You can do it. Night Sorrow raised his head and looked at the sky. Princess Qing Luan and her subordinates were the same. They all raised their heads and looked at the sky, watching the battle between Sky Splitter and the Thunderbolt. When Princess Qing Yuan saw this, her heart was also shaken. She was sure that Night Sorrow was the person she was looking for. However, she understood that this time, it wouldn't go smoothly. One had to look at the person using the weapon. The character of the person using the weapon was unyielding and unyielding. It was impossible to subdue him. If she used force, it would end in mutual destruction. The lightning tribulation lasted for 15 minutes. Cracks appeared on Sky Splitter. However, it lasted until the lightning disappeared. After passing the lightning tribulation, Sky Splitter circled around and stabbed in front of Night Sorrow. At this moment, the golden light also descended. Chapter 1103. As the lightning tribulation absorbed the golden light, the cracks on Lai Kong disappeared. It was completely restored. Then, the tail vibrated and made a sound. Night Sorrow grabbed Lai Kong and looked at it. Then, he waved his right hand and cut open the space. Then, he controlled the 9-region origin pearl to leave his body. It wrapped the storage ring, Xuexi, and Lai Kong and entered the space. Go back and wait for me. Night Sorrow shouted at the stunned Xuexi. Then, he waved his left hand and sealed the space. Not only was Xuexi stunned, Princess Qing Yuan, Zhuo Tingfei, and Princess Qing Yuan's maid were also shocked. They didn't expect Night Sorrow to do this. It was too fast, and no one could react in time. Okay, now that there's nothing to do, we can talk. Night Sorrow pulled a chair and sat opposite Princess Qing Yuan. Looks like you have made some preparations. You have a strong defense against your majesty. Princess Qing Yuan looked at Night Sorrow and said. She knew that Night Sorrow had made all the preparations to face her. In other words, he knew that she was coming in advance and was on guard against her. Only Z is the original, the others are Z's pirated copies. Yes, a person without foresight will have immediate worries. Princess Qing Yuan wouldn't visit me without a reason. Night Sorrow can't resist, but I still have to make some preparations. Night Sorrow drank a cup of tea and said. Very bold. You are indeed not an ordinary person. Princess Qing Yuan smiled and nodded. You are disrespectful to our princess. Aren't you afraid that we will attack your nest? Destroy the world you belong to. Princess Qing Yuan's maid, Bai Ling, had a face full of killing intent. Not to mention the sky mystic world, even in the supreme world, even the monarch wouldn't dare to be so impolite to Princess Qing Yuan. The princess is yours, not mine. As for attacking my world, whether you can do it or not, you have to ask your princess. Night Sorrow looked at Bai Ling and said. Haha. A realm lord has the confidence to not fear any opponent. The treasure you gave away just now is the origin of a world, right? Princess Qing Yuan smiled and said. That's right, it's the source energy of the 9-domain world. The 9-domain world is the world where I came from, Night Sorrow said. This soul avatar of yours is a special type of avatar. Aren't you afraid of being destroyed? Zhuo Tingfei spoke. He understood that they had encountered the same situation as when they met Yen Tianpe in the Crimson Capital. Facing the clones of world overlords, there was no need to fear any threat. I'm not afraid, and I won't hide it from you. I'm a king-level alchemist. I was lucky enough to obtain a lot of materials in the past, and I've refined a lot of supplement spirit pills. In addition, I have a spatial treasure that can accelerate time by 100 times. Condensing an avatar won't be difficult. Night Sorrow looked at Zhuo Tingyun and said. He really wasn't afraid of anything now. Do you really want to become enemies with us? Zhuo Tingyun narrowed his eyes at Night Sorrow. The teleportation array between the 9-domain world and the sky mystic world had already been destroyed when you guys came. Therefore, I'm not worried about anything. Let's not threaten each other and have a good talk. Night Sorrow smiled. Looking at Night Sorrow's smile, Zhuo Tingyun felt a toothache. He had experienced a lot of things and had even killed monarchs before, However, he had never encountered a situation like Night Sorrow's. It was like a dog biting a tortoise with nowhere to bite. Alright, although things aren't going well, it's not a wasted trip to be able to meet someone like you. Qing Luan is impressed. Princess Qing Luan cupped her hands towards Night Sorrow. This wasn't empty talk. Princess Qing Luan was really impressed by Night Sorrow. Aura. After knowing her identity, he was still able to refine equipment in an orderly manner and talk calmly. This was his aura. Ordinary monarchs wouldn't be able to do this. In terms of cultivation aptitude, Princess Qing Luan had seen a lot of geniuses. However, she had never seen a dual-attribute king who was slightly over 100 years old. Another thing was his battle prowess. She had seen the power of Night Sorrow's casual attack after refining the Sky Splitter. Princess Qing Luan is too polite. Night Sorrow is a cultivator from a small world. It's just that I'm not willing to live a lowly life. Therefore, I was a little disrespectful to Princess. Please forgive me. Night Sorrow nodded towards Princess Qing Luan. I can understand. These aren't empty words. I truly can understand. You also have the confidence to not live a lowly life. Princess Qing Luan nodded. In the boundless world, monarchs didn't have this capital. However, realm masters had this confidence because they had their own territory and domain. I'm just lucky. Bai Ling opened her mouth and said. You were born in a large world. You have a high starting point. You will never understand how difficult it is to be a cultivator from a small world. My adoptive father is a hunter. I used to be a hunter too. However, I didn't want the people in my hometown to be constantly threatened by beasts. Therefore, I embarked on the path of cultivation. If you say it's luck, then I have nothing to say. Night Sorrow glanced at Bai Ling and said. Bai Ling, shut up. Night Sorrow is a virtuous person. He has done good deeds for the world. This is the judgment of the Tao of Heaven. You can't use luck to blaspheme it. Luck is blasphemy to those who work hard and resist. Princess Qing Luan shouted at Bai Ling, I've only been cultivating for a short period of time. However, I've been fighting all the time. I've been on the brink of death many times. I don't care about anything anymore. As long as the people around me are safe, that's enough. Murmured Night Sorrow in a low voice. This was what he said to himself. No matter how difficult it was, he felt that it was worth it. Night Sorrow, I'm not threatening you. Your real body is still in the Jiuxiao Tower in the world of the 9 clouds, right? Said Zhuo Tingfei. He was really afraid that Night Sorrow would say something that would embarrass him. You're a threat. My real body stopped practicing in advance and returned to the world of the 9 regions. Of course, it's a great loss. However, my safety is related to the world of the 9 regions, so I have to bear with it. Night Sorrow was still a little unhappy when he mentioned this. Zhuo Tingfei didn't say anything because Night Sorrow had already planned everything. He was also cruel to himself. He stopped practicing when he wanted to, which was a loss for his future. He also didn't want the clone in front of him. It could be said that Night Sorrow didn't care about the clone in front of him at all. Night Sorrow, Your Majesty came here. Actually, it's not bad for you. Let's put it simply. We just want you to come to our Qing Emperor's dynasty to develop. You're a meritorious person. It's good for the Qing Emperor's dynasty. The Qing Emperor's dynasty will give you a wider world. The world of the 9 clouds is still too small, said Princess Qing Luan. Doing good without intention is meritorious. Doing good with purpose is also meritorious. Your way of thinking might be wrong. I will go to the supreme world, but not now. Just like now, you can easily kill me. Why would I go to the supreme world? Looking for abuse? Night Sorrow laughed. Princess Qing Luan also laughed. Although things didn't go well, she had some understanding of Night Sorrow. Then do you know that in a stable environment, it's harder to improve yourself? Your Majesty is the only princess of the Qing Emperor's dynasty. However, when there's a war, I've always been at the forefront. There's great fear between life and death. It's also the best way to improve yourself. Princess Qing Yuan said. That's reasonable. I also understand. However, that's the cultivation path chosen when there's no room for improvement or when it's very difficult to improve. Currently, my strength is still in the stage of rapid improvement. Knight Sorrow agreed with Princess Qing Yuan, but he also had his own point of view. Your Majesty won't force you. However, you're facing a great danger now. Perhaps Your Majesty can help you solve it. Princess Qing Yuan changed the topic. Chapter 1104. Great Crisis? I don't really understand. Knight Sorrow looked at Princess Qing Yuan and asked. Your Majesty is reasonable, but some people are not. The sixth prince of the Red Emperor's country of reincarnation world is here. He has no bottom line. In order to make you compromise, he can do anything. Princess Qing Yuan said. Is there anything else that can threaten me? Knight Sorrow squinted his eyes and looked at Princess Qing Yuan. Is there nothing that can threaten you? For example, the Sky Profound World. If you don't compromise, he can let the Sky Profound World and even the 9 firmament worlds suffer. Princess Qing Yuan threw out a sentence that made Knight Sorrow dizzy. How can this be? Knight Sorrow's eyes were filled with killing intent. This method is ineffective against selfish people. You are a person of merit. Naturally, you don't want others to be implicated because of your own matters. Princess Qing Yuan said. Knight Sorrow fell into a dilemma because what Princess Qing Yuan said was true. Then why don't you do this? Knight Sorrow looked at Princess Qing Yuan. Your Majesty may be a woman, but she cultivates the way of a gentleman. Sometimes, she uses power and strength to solve problems. However, there are also some things that she disdains to do. Princess Qing Yuan said her style of doing things. It's impossible for me to compromise. Absolutely impossible. If he dares to go against the Sky Profound World, I, Knight Sorrow, will make him pay 100 times the price. Knight Sorrow stood up. But that's after the 9 firmament worlds suffered a calamity. Things can develop according to the situation. If he really wants to do this, Your Majesty can help you deal with him. The request is that you develop in the reincarnation world. If you want to develop in the Qing Emperor's dynasty, don't feel that it's difficult. Your Majesty is not taking in subordinates. You are free. Princess Qing Yuan said her request. Brat, have you ever thought about it? When you go to the Qing Emperor's dynasty, you have your own autonomy. Under the protection of the Qing Emperor's dynasty, no other top forces will have any ideas. Zhuo Tingfei said. You have a good plan. Not to mention me, you're still thinking about the Jiao Shao World Group? Knight Sorrow looked at Zhuo Tingfei angrily. Don't look at me like that. Princess, you should speak. He doesn't like me now. Zhuo Tingfei took a step back. He could tell that he had touched Knight Sorrow's bottom line. Knight Sorrow was about to bite. Knight Sorrow, don't be so agitated. Elder Zhuo didn't express it clearly. Subsidiary worlds and protector worlds are different. Subsidiary worlds have to hand over their resources and they have to be completely controlled and allocated. Protector worlds are completely a burden. The top powers are only willing to do so because some people have merit and value. Princess Qing Yuan said. Knight Sorrow didn't say anything. He was now at the crossroads of life. Maybe things aren't that bad. After thinking for a while, Knight Sorrow raised his head and said. Then we can wait. Your Majesty will bring them and hide here for a while. If you are in danger, we can talk again. Princess Qing Yuan knew that Knight Sorrow was struggling without confidence. Okay, if I beg you, then I will accept my fate. If I don't beg you, then go back to where you came from. I won't allow you to have any other thoughts. Knight Sorrow said. Okay, it's a deal. Princess Qing Yuan nodded. She knew that this matter was successful. She knew Chi-Du's temperament too well. After that, Night Sorrow set up a formation and wrapped most of the small lakeside building in it. He only left a pavilion alone in the lake for himself to live in. After making arrangements for Princess Qingwan and the rest, Night Sorrow went to the pavilion in the lake and brewed a pot of heart-cleansing tea. He was in a dilemma now. It was really hard to make a choice. He couldn't sit by and watch the profound sky world suffer a calamity. That would be a sin. At this moment, Princess Qingwan and the rest who were wrapped in the formation were also talking. It's a success. I never thought that Chi-Du would have such an effect. Princess Qingwan drank a mouthful of tea and said, "This brat is too difficult to deal with. Fortunately, he still has a weakness. Otherwise, we would have to return empty-handed." Zhuo Tingfei's old face was full of wrinkles. For people who are passionate, emotions are their weakness. However, he is indeed a rare all-rounder. He is a heavenly master alchemist and weapon refiner. His formation skills are also at the heavenly master level. This illusion formation cannot be attacked or touched. Even the sovereigns are unable to detect it. Elder Zhuo, what's the situation now? Are you gloating? Princess Qingwan looked at Elder Zhuo and said. Seeing that brat's conflicted face, this subordinate is happy. This brat is born in the year of the turtle. It's very difficult to deal with him. Now, we have caught his weakness. Zhuo Tingfei laughed. There were only a few people who could be so casual around Princess Qingwan. Other than her family, only Elder Zhuo could be so casual. Elder Zhuo watched her grow up and even gave her pointers when she was young. Therefore, she respected Elder Zhuo very much. On QF, that's true. Without Chi-Du, we really can't take him down. Princess Qingwan nodded. When Night Sorrow was drinking tea, Bei Xing came. She came to inform Night Sorrow that Princess Qingwan and the rest had disappeared. However, another group of people had appeared and had a conflict with Wuji World's realm lord Yan Tianpa. Hearing Bei Xing's words, Night Sorrow exerted force in his hand and the teacup in his hand directly shattered into powder. Originally, he was still hoping that Princess Qingwan's news was false. However, Bei Xing's words proved that it was true. What's wrong? Bei Xing didn't expect Night Sorrow to have such a reaction. Not hiding anything from Bei Xing, Night Sorrow told her about the current situation. For the 9 Firmament World Group, you want to sacrifice yourself and compromise? Bei Xing frowned. The current situation had also exceeded her expectations. Do I have any other choice? Xian Tian Monarch, your father, Elder Xiang, Purple Firmament Monarch, 7 Rain Monarch. If they didn't recognize my worth, they would have helped me. Can I watch the 9 Firmament World Groups suffer a calamity because of me? Night Sorrow laughed bitterly. Bei Xing was very angry, but she didn't have any good ideas. After thinking for a while, she left. She had to report these things to Big Dipper King. Big Dipper King also had to find someone to discuss. This wasn't Night Sorrow's personal matter. The implications were too great. If a top force of the Supreme World really moved against the 9 Firmament World Group, other than the 2 worlds with realm lords, the other spatial worlds of the 9 Firmament World Group would fall. After Bei Xing left, Night Sorrow drank tea. His heart also calmed down. Since things had come, then let nature take its course. After all, Princess Qingwan was still someone with principles. Bei Xing went to Big Dipper Villa and told her father, Big Dipper King, about Night Sorrow's current situation. Big Dipper King's expression changed. He brought Bei Xing to Xiantian Sky City to see Xiantian Monarch's clone. After learning about the situation, the 3 of them went to 9 Firmament City to see Purple Firmament Monarch. Hearing Bei Xing's story, Purple Firmament Monarch puffed out his cheeks and exhaled. Red Emperor's country is indeed like what Princess Qingwan said. They are incomparably ruthless. If we find Night Sorrow and he doesn't compromise, things will be difficult. If it's difficult, then don't do it. Are we going to let a young person protect the 9 Firmament World Group? Divine Night Monarch walked in from outside. Chapter 1105. Senior Brother. The sovereign of Zishao bowed. Their master did not enter the king's realm. In reality, the sovereign of Shenshao was teaching on behalf of his master, so the sovereign of Zishao was especially respectful towards the sovereign of Shenshao. Greetings, Monarch Shenshao. Monarch Xian Tian and Big Dipper King bowed. ##, we can't do this. If we let Night Sorrow do this, how can we face the world in the future? How can we face our own hearts? Divine Night Monarch said after sitting down. Brother, don't be angry. We're just discussing. We can't resist the Red Emperor's attack. We should prepare in advance and close the teleportation portal. That way, the continent of the 9 clouds will be able to resist, but the other worlds will be in danger, said Sovereign Zishao. Lord Divine Night Monarch, things are not that bad. The Qing Emperor's dynasty did not offer Night Sorrow harsh conditions. Bei Xing repeated what Night Sorrow had told her. Not being enslaved, having freedom, and protecting the 9 firmament world group. The conditions are good, but I still can't get over it. I'll go see Night Sorrow and see what he says. If he wants to fight, then we'll fight to the end. Monarch Shenshao said after thinking for a while. The main reason was that Bei Xing's Qing dynasty's conditions weren't harsh at all. Instead, they were very generous. It was very difficult for any cultivator to get such treatment in the Qing dynasty, it was almost impossible. Then, the group of people took the teleportation array to Seven Night City and arrived at the pavilion by the Seven Night Lake. Night Sorrow was fishing. When he saw them, Night Sorrow got up and put away his fishing rod. Then, he brewed a pot of tea. We already know what happened. The decision is up to you. If you want to fight, we will fight to the end. The Divine Night Monarch expressed his attitude directly. Thank you for your support, Master, but we're not alone. We have countless things to worry about. We can't live for ourselves. That's too selfish. We have no right to bring the countless lives of the continent of the 9 clouds to war. If we can't do it, I'll accept my fate. Night Sorrow bowed to the Divine Night Monarch and expressed his attitude. Monarch Shenshao and the others looked glum. Monarchs and monarchs didn't care about life and death. But at that moment, if they started a war, it was hard to say whether the continent of the 9 heavens could survive or not, but many people would be injured or killed. Blue Phoenix, Divine Night. At this moment, the Blue One walked out of the 1000 Development Illusionary Formation. The 1000 Development Illusionary Formation was able to prevent detection and revert back to the original scenery, but it could not stop a monarch. Naturally, the Blue One could enter and exit freely. The Sovereign of Divine Night nodded at Princess Qing Wan. Greetings, Your Highness. It has been more than 100,000 years since we last met. Yes. Blue Phoenix remembers. That time, Divine Night Monarch went to the world of reincarnation to do something. After Divine Night Monarch left, Divine Night Monarch told me that Divine Night Monarch was an incredible commander in the Azure Scale Army. You wanted to leave, but Divine Night Monarch couldn't stop you. Divine Night Monarch cares about the continent of the 9 clouds too much. Princess Blue Phoenix nodded. She knew Divine Night Monarch. He used to be a commander in the Azure Scale Army under the command of the Qing Emperor's Crown Prince. But that was millions of years ago. I'm sorry, Your Highness, but the continent of the 9 clouds is my home, said Divine Night Monarch apologetically. Qing Wan is not here to make things difficult for anyone. She just loves talented people. However, the Crimson Emperor Kingdom is different from the Qing Imperial Dynasty. I'm sure Emperor Shenshao knows this, said Princess Qing Wan. Night Sorrow is different from me. I joined the Azure Scale Army to solve a crisis for the continent of the 9 clouds. But now, the continent of the 9 clouds is safe. The Red Emperor's kingdom is a bully. If Night Sorrow wants to fight back, we will fight back. I joined the Azure Scale Army to fight back, too, said Divine Night Monarch. That's the spirit of the continent of the 9 clouds. Your Majesty understands. If Knight Sorrow joins the Azure Scale army, it's also a fight against the Red Emperor's kingdom, said Princess Blue Phoenix. She had changed the way she addressed herself, which meant that they were done talking about the past. Alright, but there are some things I need to make clear to Princess Blue Phoenix. The 9 regions world is facing a catastrophe. My real body can't do anything. My real body can only go to the world of reincarnation after the catastrophe is over. Besides, if the Azure Scale army has a war, I will participate in it. I will also listen to orders. If there is no war, please don't ask me what I want to do, said Knight Sorrow. He didn't want Divine Knight Monarch and the others to make things difficult for him. All right. If the Red Emperor's kingdom really wants to cause trouble, Your Majesty will do as you say. If the Red Emperor's kingdom doesn't become a threat, we can talk about the conditions again, said Princess Blue Phoenix. Princess Qing Luan spoke, expressing her magnanimity. Whether she acted or not, the conditions were different. Knight Sorrow, I'm sorry. As the Realm Lord, you can have other choices. We will remember your contribution to the continent of the 9 clouds. Divine Knight Monarch cupped his hands to Knight Sorrow. Divine Knight Monarch, you're too serious. I think there's a saying that can be changed. People are not born alive, they are born by fighting. Ants are weak, but they face the sky, not to mention us cultivators, said Knight Sorrow. Well said. Princess Blue Phoenix cupped her hands to Knight Sorrow. Just some thoughts. Knight Sorrow put down his burden, and his state of mind changed a little. Elder Zwa, go back to the Azure Scale army and announce the war. Then take a small team to guard the teleportation formation of the 9 clouds world. If you see the Red Emperor's kingdom's troops, persuade them to retreat. If they don't retreat, kill them. Blue Phoenix said to Zwa Tingyun, who was standing in the 1,000 illusion formation and hesitating whether to come out or not. Yes. Hearing Princess Blue Phoenix, Zwa Tingyun's chi changed. Battle intent and killing intent broke out of his body because Princess Blue Phoenix's words were a battle order. After receiving the battle order, he immediately went to arrange it. Knight Sorrow, don't worry. Your Majesty forced you to participate and then asked you to join the war. If he didn't want to make a big fuss, Chi-Du wouldn't have mobilized troops. Your Majesty's arrangement is a backup plan, said Princess Blue Phoenix. Princess Blue Phoenix, Knight Sorrow still doesn't understand. I'm just a primary king. Is it so important? In other words, is it worth it? Knight Sorrow asked. A primary king isn't worth it, but you are. You're a 2-star king around 100 years old. After some training, you won't have any problems growing up. The most important thing is that you have a body of merits. Maybe you don't understand now, but you will in the future. Princess Blue Phoenix nodded. She naturally had a balance in her heart. Knight Sorrow had his own considerations. He would have to go to a supreme world sooner or later because he still needed to comprehend the will of the nothingness heaven and earth. It would be useless for him to stay in a high-level world. The 9-domain world would take a long time to grow into a supreme world. The world and the sector master were complementary. If the world developed quickly, the sector master's level would increase. On the other hand, if the sector master's level increased quickly, the world would also develop. Chapter 1106. Knight Sorrow, I will help you wipe out the Tiannan dynasty. The Yanmen sect will also give you a satisfactory explanation, Lord Xian Tian said. No, the enmity with the Tiannan dynasty is the 9 regions world's matter. It is also my Yi clan's matter. I will personally take care of the Yi clan's annihilation. This will be an explanation to my ancestors. Even if the Tiannan dynasty dies, they will die with satisfaction. Knight Sorrow shook his head and refused. Family matter. The Yi clan's annihilation? Are you a descendant of the Yi clan of the Tiannan dynasty? Lord Xian Tian asked in surprise. Yes, I know a little about it, but it is not very detailed. Shang Tianfeng used a child to threaten the child's parents and then annihilated the Yi clan. This is a disgrace to the Yi clan. Night Sorrow could empathize with Yi Qianhua's experience. A descendant of an old friend. Yi Feng King is my best friend. I am heartbroken that something happened to him. Big Dipper King's face was full of pain. Night Sorrow, King Big Dipper wanted to take revenge for Yi Feng King, but I stopped him. After all, this is a family matter between the Shang clan and the Yi clan. Also, I thought that the old emperor of the Tiannan dynasty, Shang Si King, would handle it. Who knew that he would be disheartened and disappear? I lost this old friend of mine, Lord Xian Tian said apologetically. Thank you, King Big Dipper. Lord Xian Tian, you are right. I will deal with the Tiannan dynasty's matter later. The Yanmen sect and I have no great enmity. They have also paid the price for humiliating my disciple. If they don't provoke me in the future, I will not pursue it. However, their methods in the subsidiary space world are really despicable, Night Sorrow said. Good. I will not ask about the Tiannan dynasty's matter. The Yanmen sect will give you and the world an explanation. Lord Xian Tian nodded. He knew some things in his heart, but he didn't interfere. After drinking a few cups of tea, Lord Shen Shao and the others left. He also had something to do. If Princess Qing Wan and the Red Emperor's Qi capital fought, the battlefield might be Nine Heavens City. Thus, he had to make some arrangements to avoid losses. Only Yi Shang and Princess Qing Wan were left drinking tea. Princess Qing Wan looked at Yi Shang and said, "After you're done, bring me to your 9 regions world for a walk." Princess Qing Wan heaven. Night Sorrow nodded. At that moment, the 9 realms origin bead tore through space and fused with Night Sorrow's divine sea. The 9 realms origin bead brought Night Sorrow's avatar's storage ring and ripping space. With the origin of the world, you are so domineering. Princess Qing Wan looked at Night Sorrow enviously. Even though she had a high position in the Qing Emperor's dynasty and controlled many lords, she didn't have the ability or opportunity to control the world. Night Sorrow smiled and shook his head. Princess, do as you wish. I plan to make some pills and make an armor. Okay. Your Majesty will also see the skills of a heavenly master alchemist and blacksmith. Princess Qing Wan nodded. In the Supreme World, heavenly master alchemists and blacksmiths were rare. After all, to become a heavenly master alchemist and blacksmith required talent and countless materials. It was very difficult to cultivate them unless they were from a big faction. It was very rare for a top faction to have 1 or 2 heavenly master alchemists and blacksmiths. Yi Shang refined the 9 transformation pill first. After this incident, he would go to the reincarnation great world. His main body still needed medicinal pills to increase his cultivation. The best thing he could prepare was that his main body did not need to worry about medicinal pills and resources. His main body could focus on cultivation. 7 days later, the 9 transformation pill was born and lightning tribulation appeared again. Night Sorrow made the 9 transformation pill with pill pattern. Pill tribulation. Then the previous pill tribulation should also be caused by you. Your Majesty knows about the pill this time. It is a pill for cultivating the body. What kind of pill did you make last time? Princess Qing Wan asked when she saw Night Sorrow keeping the pill. If I don't tell you, Princess, you will be unhappy. My future days won't be good. If I tell you, I will probably bleed. It is the Yun Spirit pill. Night Sorrow said helplessly. The 9 transformation pill was a pill for strengthening the body. King-level cultivators didn't cultivate the body much, so they didn't need the 9 transformation pill. However, the Yun Spirit pill was different. All cultivators needed it. Yun Spirit pill. After being baptized by lightning tribulation, it is the pill pattern Yun Spirit pill. Your Majesty naturally needs it. You name the price. After hearing Night Sorrow's words, Princess Qing Wan was really interested. Her almond eyes were full of light. In the Supreme World, the Yun spirit pill was also very rare because the spirit root grass was not available. I came from a small world and haven't seen many good things. Princess Qinghuan, you decide what price to pay. Yi Shang directly took out an elixir vein spirit accumulation pill and gave it to Princess Qinghuan. Night Sorrow only had a few pill pattern Yun spirit pills left. He was also reluctant to part with them, but Princess Qinghuan said that she wanted the pill pattern Yun spirit pill. Smart guy, these are king level pills, marrow cleansing pill and spirit congealing pill. In addition, your majesty still has time to cultivate in the reincarnation palace. I'll give you 30 years. Princess Qinghuan took out 2 jade bottles and said. Where is the reincarnation palace? Night Sorrow asked. It's close to the Jiuxiao Pagoda in your Jiuxiao world group. It's a place where you can comprehend the will of heaven and earth. Currently, the top forces of the reincarnation world occupy the cultivation time. Cultivation time is relatively rare. Your Majesty can only obtain 100 years of cultivation time every 10,000 years. Princess Qinghuan said. Can I comprehend any will of heaven and earth? Night Sorrow's eyes lit up. Of course. As long as there is a will of heaven and earth, the reincarnation palace will naturally have it. That's the supreme world, you understand? Princess Qinghuan said. Understood. Night Sorrow's heart was very moved. He needed this time too much. Whenever you want to use this time, you can find your majesty, no matter what the result of this matter is. Princess Qinghuan could see Night Sorrow's inner joy. Thank you, princess. Night Sorrow cupped his hands towards Princess Qinghuan. Reincarnation Palace has 5,000 years of cultivation time every 10,000 years. Every top force gets different amounts of time. The Qing Emperor's dynasty is considered to have a larger share, but this time will be used by the dynasty to reward people who have made contributions. Your Majesty's cultivation time is also obtained by relying on his ability, not on the princess's status. Princess Qinghuan explained the importance of this time. PV Night Sorrow understands. Thank you, princess, for your generosity. Night Sorrow stood up and cupped his hands. There are some things that you will know after you come in contact with them. The results of hard work and hard work are not the same. Both are risking their lives, but the benefits obtained in the small world and the supreme world are completely different. That is the stage for the strong to rise. Your Majesty didn't say this to win you over, it's the truth. Princess Qinghuan looked at Night Sorrow and said. Night Sorrow understood what Princess Qinghuan said. If you fought with your life in the small world, you might only obtain low-level materials. However, if you obtained it in the supreme world, you might obtain a heaven-defying opportunity. Chapter 1107. At the end of this exchange, they both got what they needed. Princess Qinghuan used the elixir with inscriptions to improve her cultivation aptitude. Okay. The marrow cleansing elixir was not very useful to Night Sorrow. After all, his flesh, blood, bones, and marrow had all been turned into energy. But it was a rare elixir for others. The spirit congealing elixir was of great use to Yi Shang. It was an elixir that could stabilize the divine soul pearl, which could only be found by chance. As for the cultivation time in the Samsara Palace, it was of greater significance to Yi Shang. It could determine his future height. After straightening out his thoughts, Night Sorrow sorted out the refining materials and planned to refine an armor. He prepared some time purple sand and space iron. The space iron was purchased from the Celestial Master Pavilion. The time purple sand was very rare and could not be bought, but Bei Xing gave some to Night Sorrow. Looking at the space iron and time purple sand, Night Sorrow found that it was not enough to refine an armor. After thinking for a while, he decided to refine a triangular half-body armor. It was a compromise to protect the left shoulder, heart, and left arm. In the battle, Night Sorrow held it with his right hand. It was most convenient to choose the left side of his body to resist the attack. With the idea, Night Sorrow began to refine. Leaving the Tianxian world for the world of Samsara was to fight. Weapons and armor must be strengthened. Melting the space iron, cooling it down, carving the formation, hammering it, forging the lock, carving the formation, and hammering it. The half-body armor designed by Night Sorrow was a combination of the shoulder, and the arm guard was a combination of scales and locks. This did not affect the flexibility. Princess Qing Yuan was drinking tea and watching. Her sole power was exploring the surroundings. As long as Qi Du and others came, she could enter the formation immediately and watch the development of the situation. She would only take action when needed. One by one, the parts were forged. Night Sorrow was also thinking during the forging, trying to perfect the shape and effect of the armor. Creating the armor took a lot of time, and it took more than 20 days. Night Sorrow's idea of a space-time armor took shape. It was a silver, slanted triangular armor with purple light. The shoulder was a hole, and it had a sharp slanted upward hook. The main body was silver, and the purple edges of the edges were like dragon scales that were tightly combined to form the arm guard and the body protection. With a swing of the sky splitter, he cut open his wrist and sprinkled his own blood on the armor. The owner recognition was complete, and the forging was complete. King's mid-grade defensive equipment, because it wasn't top-grade, no lightning tribulation descended. It was mainly because of the lack of materials. With Night Sorrow's soul power, a set of armor appeared on Night Sorrow's body. Following which, with a thought, Night Sorrow transformed the set of armor into shoulder pads, which he attached to Night Sorrow's left shoulder. Why isn't it a body armor, but something between armor and shoulder pads? Princess Qing Yuan asked. I had no other choice. I don't have enough materials. When I have enough materials in the future, I'll evolve. That's all I can do for now, Night Sorrow said. Princess Qing Yuan didn't say anything. The lack of materials and resources was a problem that many cultivators faced. At that moment, Night Sorrow communicated with the Dragon Cauldron again. He planned to evolve the Dragon Cauldron. After becoming a heavenly adept, Night Sorrow saw the level and flaws of the Dragon Cauldron and the Spacetime Pagoda. The Dragon Cauldron was a high-grade sacred artifact. It was powerful now because the artifact spirit was complete and mature. The fundamental reason that limited the Dragon Cauldron's level was that the materials used were low-grade and the array engravings were rough. Back then, Yao Qing was a saint. It was already very rare for him to be able to refine a high-grade sacred artifact. The Dragon Cauldron's evolution would depend on Night Sorrow to improve it. After confirming that the artifact spirit wouldn't be damaged, Night Sorrow started to evolve the Dragon Cauldron. First, he destroyed the array, engraved a new array, and then added new materials. The material that Night Sorrow used this time was the Flame Origin Stone. It was the spoils of war from killing the Blazing King. Princess Qing Yuan could see that Night Sorrow was going to arm himself to the teeth. His weapon was a king artifact, his armor was a king artifact. Now that he was evolving the Dragon Cauldron, he was using king-grade materials. The finished product would naturally be a king artifact. In the Supreme World, perhaps only monarchs could do this. It was very difficult for ordinary kings to even possess a single king artifact. King-grade materials were hard to come by. Also, the price of hiring a heavenly adept was too high. Ordinary people couldn't afford it. When Night Sorrow was halfway through, Princess Qing Yuan stood up. They are here. Your Majesty should leave first. If you can't come to an agreement, they will use force. Your Majesty will appear. Then, Princess Qing Yuan flashed into the array. Princess, they definitely can't come to an agreement, right? After arranging the battle order, Zhuo Tengfei, who had returned a few days ago, said. Of course. What kind of character is Qi Du? Will Night Sorrow spoil him? Definitely not. Princess Qing Yuan nodded. She was very confident. Night Sorrow continued to forge the Dragon Cauldron. He didn't plan to stop. So what if Qi Du was evil? He couldn't just come and interrupt him, right? Qi Du was also found using the divination array. He didn't make a decision because he wasn't confident. He felt that there was no result if he continued to investigate. In terms of boldness, he wasn't as bold as Princess Qing Yuan. After arriving, Qi Du frowned. His face was filled with impatience. An old man beside him pulled a chair for him before he sat down. After using 5 days, Night Sorrow completed the evolution of the Dragon Cauldron. The main body of the Dragon Cauldron was all origin flame stones. The previous materials were all treated as impurities by Night Sorrow during the replacement of the materials. After feeling the power and weight of the Dragon Cauldron, Night Sorrow stored the Dragon Cauldron that was already at the same level as the armor back into his body. The weapon spirit also needed to familiarize itself with the Dragon Cauldron. May I ask why Sire and the others are here? Night Sorrow poured himself a cup of tea and said, "Pack up and leave with this prince. In the future, you will serve this prince." Qi Du said. It was equivalent to giving an order. This is your idea, not mine, right? Night Sorrow said with a smile. Although he knew that there was almost no possibility of negotiation, Night Sorrow didn't want to fall out with him immediately. He wanted to try again. Your idea isn't important. What is important is what this prince wants you to do. Qi Du said with a cold face. Then I won't hide it from you. I am the Realm Lord. This is just a soul clone. What can you do to me? Night Sorrow said his trump card. You are the Realm Lord? Qi Du stood up. Night Sorrow waved his arm and tore the space apart. Then, the 9 domain sources brought the armor and Dragon Cauldron into the space turbulence. Qi Du waved his hand to stop them, but there was no effect. The origin of a world was supported by the power of the world. It wasn't something that anyone could stop or control. My true body will guide the origin of the world back. If you use force, you will only kill my soul clone. However, I will remember this hatred. So, you should go back to where you came from. Night Sorrow said. In fact, the 9 domain sources were in the space turbulence. If there was a battle, Princess Qing Yuan would interfere. Chapter 1108. Then this prince will destroy your city, destroy all the people related to you, and wash the sky profound world and the 9 firmament world group with blood. Aren't you a virtuous person? This prince will let you be plagued with sin. Qi Du's triangular eyes emitted a fierce light. Qi Du. I will remember this name. You also remember today's threat. I will return it 100 times. My name is Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow said coldly. Who are you to threaten this prince? If you can't work for me, you can die. Qi Du waved his hand and let the people behind him take action. Qi Du, he is your majesty's man. What are you doing? Just as Qi Du's subordinates were about to take action, Princess Qing Yuan appeared. The time was right. It was time for her to take action and collect the results. Qing Yuan, what do you mean? Qi Du frowned. This situation was beyond his expectations. What do I mean? Your Majesty has said it very clearly. Night Sorrow is a member of the Qing Yuan army. Are you planning to declare war on the Qing Yuan army? Qing Yuan said. Night Sorrow, you can do it, but your foundation and the 9 firmament world group, this prince will definitely destroy it. Looking at Zhua Tingyun, who was standing beside Night Sorrow, he said. He did not have the chance to make a move on Night Sorrow. Qi Du, your Majesty promised Night Sorrow that the Qing Emperor's dynasty will protect the 9 firmament world group. If you touch the 9 firmament world group, you will be declaring war on the Qing Emperor's dynasty. Princess Qing Yuan looked coldly at Qi Du and said the conditions that she had discussed with Night Sorrow. Qing Yuan, this prince has given you enough face. Don't push your luck. This prince wants to destroy this 9 firmament world group. You can't protect it. Qi Du narrowed his eyes and looked at Qing Yuan. For the only authentic version, the others are all pirated versions. Then you can give it a try. Now you can mobilize your troops and see if you can return alive after entering the 9 firmament world group. In addition, as long as the people of your Red Emperor country appear in the 9 Firmament World Group again, the Green Phoenix Army will immediately attack the subsidiary worlds of the Red Emperor country. If you want to play, your Majesty will play with you to the end. You say your Majesty can't protect you? Your Majesty doesn't believe it. Princess Qing Luan directly declared war in the face of Chidu's threat. Prince, forget it. Just treat it as giving Princess Qing Luan some face. The old man beside Chidu said in a low voice. Knight Sorrow, remember this. Don't mess with this prince. Otherwise, this prince will kill you. Chidu looked at Knight Sorrow and said coldly. Who do you think you are? I said your threat to me, I will return it to you 100 times. In the future, when I have nothing to do, I will go to the Red Emperor country for a walk. Knight Sorrow said. Chidu used the Sky Profound World and the 9 Firmament World Group to threaten him. Knight Sorrow already saw him as a life and death enemy. You dare? Chidu stared at Knight Sorrow and touched the hilt of the sword at his waist. Why wouldn't I dare? Knight Sorrow snorted coldly. Pointing his finger at Knight Sorrow, Chidu brought his men and left. He knew that if he stayed any longer, he would be bullied. With Qing Wan here, he couldn't do anything to Knight Sorrow. In terms of strength, Chidu and Princess Qing Wan were about the same. Even if there was a difference, it wouldn't be too big. However, in their respective forces, their positions were different. In the Qing Emperor dynasty, Qing Wan was the one with real power. She had the ability to take responsibility for the consequences of her declaration of war. If she wanted to fight, Qing Wan could directly mobilize the Qing Wan army. However, Chidu couldn't. If Chidu wanted to fight, he could fight alone, but if it was a large-scale battle, he had to report it because he didn't have a large-scale army. After Chidu left, Knight Sorrow cupped his hands towards Qing Wan. He knew that things were set in stone. If Chidu had the ability, he wouldn't have retreated today. Brat. I reckon that in the reincarnation world, no one dares to threaten Chidu. You are the first. Good. Zhuo Tingyun gave Knight Sorrow a thumbs up. Hee, with Princess Qing Wan here, he can't do anything to me. Why don't I leave a shadow in his heart? Knight Sorrow said with a smile. That's true. However, he won't be afraid of your threat. Zhuo Tingyun said. Threat? I didn't threaten him. I'm telling the truth. If I don't fight back after being bullied like this, of course I have to fight back. Of course I have to fight back. If I endure it, then I won't be able to face my own heart. You can kill me, but I can't endure it. I can lose anything, but I can't lose my dignity, said Yishan. Arrogance, backbone. Knight Sorrow's words made Qing Wan and Zhuo Tingyun understand the pride in Knight Sorrow's bones, the pride in the depths of his soul. Princess Qing Wan, don't worry. I won't be careless when fighting for the Qing Emperor's empire. Fighting with Chidu is my personal matter. Knight Sorrow said. He didn't want Princess Qing Wan to have any misgivings. Princess Qing Wan nodded. Knight Sorrow's promise made her feel more at ease. Everyone in the army had to follow orders. She was also worried that Knight Sorrow would act recklessly. When the time comes, I'll follow you and cheer for you. Zhuo Tingyun said with a smile. He now found Knight Sorrow very pleasing to the eye. Chidu was too arrogant, and Knight Sorrow dared to extinguish Chidu's arrogance. Elder Zhuo, you're also acting recklessly. Princess Qing Wan glared at Zhuo Tingyun. At this time, Knight Sorrow's main body also told Xia Lanjun that the interrealm teleportation formation could be connected. 7 Nights City returned to normal. After recalling the 9 regions' origins, Knight Sorrow removed the 1000 development illusionary formation. Then, he brought Princess Qing Wan and Zhuo Tingyun to the pavilion in the center of the small building and brewed a pot of heart-cleansing tea. Calm the heart, good tea. Zhuo Tingyun said after drinking a mouthful. Heart-cleansing tea, not bad. Knight Sorrow smiled and nodded. Not bad? Aren't you a bit too arrogant? Zhuo Tingyun looked at Night Sorrow with disdain. If there's a chance, I'll let you experience real good tea. Night Sorrow said with a smile. Your Majesty also likes tea. I'm looking forward to your good tea. Princess Qing Yuan put down the teacup in her hand and said. Of course, no problem. The inter-realm teleportation formation is already being set up. We'll go to the 9 regions world later. I'll inform my family and friends, then I can follow Princess to the Qing Emperor's dynasty. Night Sorrow said. Okay. By the way, you said that the 9 regions world is facing a tribulation. What's going on? Princess Qing Yuan asked. Without hiding anything from Princess Qing Yuan, Night Sorrow told her the details of the 9 regions tribulation. The high-level king still needs the people of the 9 regions world to deal with it themselves. This is a bit difficult. Even though you have the ability to fight above your level, this is too big. Princess Qing Yuan was a bit worried for Night Sorrow. Don't worry, I have a backup plan. Currently, the evil world can't break through the protection of the 9 regions' origins. Even if the evil king manages to break through, I still have time to react. Night Sorrow said. Clone? Isn't this just a clone? Zhuo Tingyun looked at Night Sorrow and said. There's one more, but it's fused with the heaven-sealing Great Hall that manifested from the 9 regions' essences. It can't leave that specific area. Right now, only my main body and this clone can move about in other places, Yishan said after thinking for a moment. Not bad, very powerful. Zhuo Tingyun nodded. Just as the 3 of them were talking, Xia Lanjun and Shueshi came to the small lakeside building and told Night Sorrow that 7 Night City had returned to normal. The inter-realm teleportation formation was also open. Chapter 1109. Night Sorrow got up and made an inviting gesture. Princess Qing Yuan stood up and let the guards guard this place. Only Zhuo Tingyun and Bai Ling followed Night Sorrow to the teleportation array. King-grade teleportation array, not bad. It can even connect to the reincarnation great world. Looking at the king-grade teleportation crystal on the teleportation array, the Blue Phoenix Monarch said with some surprise. I risked my life to get it. The 9 regions world is quite far from the mysterious sky world and the other worlds in the 9 clouds world group. Normal teleportation crystals won't work. Night Sorrow explained. Work hard. If you have enough battle merits, Your Majesty can talk to the Crown Prince Royal Brother and let your teleportation array be connected to the Qing Emperor's dynasty's teleportation array. Princess Qing Yuan said. Night Sorrow nodded. He was very happy. Connecting to the mysterious sky world, the 9 regions world could develop to a new level. If it was connected to the supreme world, the development speed would increase. As for safety, you don't have to worry. In the supreme world, there is a secret technique for the teleportation array crystal to recognize its master. If the teleportation array crystal recognizes its master, if the master doesn't open it intentionally, people who are stronger than the master of the teleportation array crystal will not be able to teleport. In fact, this secret technique is tailor-made for the realm master. Princess Qing Yuan explained to Night Sorrow. That's great. In that kind of situation, there's really nothing to worry about, said Yishang. In the Qing Emperor's dynasty, there are many kinds of secret techniques. There is only one exchange condition, and that is merit. You can exchange for the resources you need with merit. Princess Qing Yuan looked at Night Sorrow and said. Very good. I like this kind of challenge. I can fight for whatever I need. Night Sorrow's blood was boiling. This kind of challenge was what he needed and what he looked forward to. When they reached the teleportation array of the city in the sky, Xia Lanjun, who was in charge of guarding, bowed to Night Sorrow. Hong Yi and Lanning also arrived. The 2 of them also cupped their hands to Night Sorrow. When they reached the mansion, Night Sorrow introduced Princess Qing Yuan to his parents, wife, Shueshi, Zhu Jiuyun and the others. Night Sorrow explained the situation to everyone. Night Sorrow, we'll go with you. You'll need help as well, Hong Yi said. There's no need. You guys can stay in the 9 domains world and work hard on your cultivation. I'll help you guys think of a way to deal with the doppelganger technique. I won't be taking the space-time pagoda with me. Just leave it here, Night Sorrow said. Then we'll go look for you after we finish cultivating our clones. Lawning spoke. They knew that Night Sorrow would be constantly battling in the world of reincarnation. Hence, they were somewhat worried. Night Sorrow, the weakest member of the Green Phoenix army, is a high-level Saint King. After you go, you will be assigned a position according to your ability. The lowest position should be a captain, so you can have 2 personal attendants. If you are a captain, you can have 4 personal attendants. The 2 of them are king, so they can follow you. It will be more convenient for them to have their own people as personal attendants. The doppelganger technique is not valuable, so your majesty can give it to them, Princess Green Phoenix said. Thank you, your highness. Hong Yi and Lanning cupped their hands towards Princess Green Phoenix. Night Sorrow arranged accommodations for Princess Green Phoenix and the others before setting off on the boat. This was something he had to do every time he returned to the city in the sky. In the attic of the guest room, Princess Green Phoenix slowly tasted her tea. Princess, this kid is a good seedling. His body of merit is almost perfect in the 9 domains world, Swa Tingyan said. That's right. Those with a body of merit have strong beliefs and will fight against the world in anger. They will slaughter thousands of soldiers for their ideals. However, they won't have any narrow-mindedness in their hearts. They won't have the slightest bit of narrow-mindedness. They will only become stronger and stronger as they walk down the path. Their merits will become more and more abundant because their ideals and beliefs are in line with the heavenly Tao, Princess Green Phoenix said. She cultivated the way of the gentleman. There were some things she couldn't do, but she could see through. Princess, how about you assign him to me? Swa Tingyan chuckled. That won't do. I already have my own thoughts and arrangements. A treasured sword's edge is sharpened. There is a position suitable for him. Princess Qing Luan spoke. Every time the Green Phoenix army goes to war, blood will flow like a river. Won't this hurt his merits? Swa Tingyun voiced his worries. It won't. The heavenly Tao's judgment is mainly based on the starting point. Why does he fight? It's for the stability of the 9 clouds world. It's for the fate of the millions of creatures in the 9 clouds world. This is merit. Those with a body of merit do things that are in line with the heavenly Tao. Every step they take is correct. Princess Green Phoenix shook her head. Swa Tingyun nodded. With Princess Green Phoenix's explanation, he understood clearly. While Princess Green Phoenix was still thinking, Swa Tingyun and Bai Ling were standing at the side. Princess Green Phoenix sat quietly for an hour before shaking her head and drinking tea. She was a little puzzled. She had checked on Night Sorrow, but when her soul power got close to Night Sorrow, she felt a suppression. It was an elemental suppression. She didn't understand where this suppression came from. One must know that she had the life attribute and will of life as her main attribute. Currently, no one could suppress her, but Night Sorrow had this kind of feeling. Princess Green Phoenix didn't say this to Zhua Tingyun and Bai Ling because it was too important. This was Night Sorrow's foundation. After staying in the lake for half a day, Night Sorrow returned to the mansion and went to the guest room where Princess Green Phoenix was staying. Shall I bring Princess around to take a look? Night Sorrow said. Okay, then let's take a look. This city in the sky is not bad. It's a good place to cultivate. Princess Green Phoenix had a very high evaluation of the city in the sky. Then, Night Sorrow brought Princess Green Phoenix, Zhua Tingyun, and Bai Ling to the Profound Mysteries Realm, Supreme River Space, and Nether Realm. Then, they went to Clear Sky City. At this time, Clear Sky City was in the midst of construction and had a certain scale. Now, the people of the 9 regions world were united. It was mainly because of Night Sorrow, the absolute core. No matter which faction or family it was, they would absolutely listen to Night Sorrow and the Commander-in-Chief's Residence's orders. The hard work they put in now was the foundation of their future development. Only one original copy, the others were all pirated copies. The management is very good. There are no problems with the prospects of the 9 regions world. Princess Green Phoenix commented. After walking around Clear Sky City, Night Sorrow brought them back to the city in the sky. Night Sorrow did not say goodbye to anyone. His original body was still in the 9 regions world to cultivate and guard. After all, the threat of the evil spirit world still existed. After having dinner with his parents and wife and resting for a while, Night Sorrow took Hong Yi and Lan Ning and followed Princess Green Phoenix. It's actually not bad. The original body's cultivation will not be delayed. The clone can work hard and fight for opportunities and a future, Princess Green Phoenix said. Night Sorrow nodded. His original body had already made the dual polarity pill. After using it, it could increase the compatibility of space and time attributes. It could even transform into space-time rules and space-time intent. The group arrived at the 9 Clouds world. In front of the teleportation formation, Night Sorrow met some of the leaders of the 9 Clouds world group. Shinshao Monarch, Zishao Monarch, Xian Tian Monarch, 7 Rain Monarch were all there. There were also a few monarchs that Night Sorrow did not know and was familiar with. Chapter 11:10. All the sovereigns are here. This made Night Sorrow blush with shame. Night Sorrow cupped his fists and said, "You are the Sector Lord. As long as you return to the 9 regions world, no one can do anything to you. You are willing to carry it because of the 9 Clouds world group. We understand." Purple Cloud Sovereign said. "Work hard. You have to weigh everything in your heart. If there are any problems, send a message back." Divine Night Sovereign handed Night Sorrow a spirit crystal. "Thank you for your concern, Divine Night Monarch." Night Sorrow bowed and accepted the spirit crystal. This was Divine Night Sovereign's kind intentions. Whether he wanted to use it or not was up to him. "I will protect the development of 7 Night City. I will also announce the ownership of 7 Night City. Without you, as long as I am alive, no one can touch 7 Night City." Xian Tian Sovereign looked at Night Sorrow and made a promise. He felt that he owed Night Sorrow. In fact, he also owed Night Sorrow. "Night Sorrow, I owe you. If you need any help, feel free to send a message back," said the 7 Rain Sovereign. 7 Rain Sovereign, I am very sorry. I have let you down." Night Sorrow said apologetically. In terms of effort and return, Night Sorrow did not owe 7 Rain Sovereign anything. Instead, 7 Rain Sovereign owed him more. However, 7 Rain Sovereign valued him from the very beginning. It was friendship. Yishang, the older generation of the 9 Firmament World Group, is useless. We can't let others threaten you with the safety of the 9 Firmament World Group. I'm sorry. No Beginning King bowed slightly to Yishang. It was very rare for a monarch to bow to another monarch because their statuses were not equal. No Beginning Sovereign, you are too polite. Black Wind and Shenbai are my friends. You are also an elder that needs to be respected. This is a small gift. Please accept it." Night Sorrow thought for a moment, then took out a jade bottle and handed it to No Beginning Sovereign. He felt that as a sovereign, if No Beginning Sovereign could bow to him, it was a sign of good morals. He was qualified to use the soul cultivation liquid. Then, Night Sorrow looked at Monarch Hailan. "When Long Jean comes out of seclusion, help me say hi. When we meet again, we won't leave until we're drunk." "Very well. He has already entered the king's realm. I am still cultivating in the 9 Heavens Tower. I will pass on your message." Monarch Hailan nodded. "Thank you all for sending me off. Let's go." Night Sorrow turned to look at Blue Luan's phoenix carriage. Then, the group entered the interrealm teleportation array and began the teleportation. "I wonder what you are giving me," No Beginning Sovereign said as he looked at the jade bottle in his hand. "I won't disappoint you. She had already guessed what was inside the jade bottle. She was very shocked by how much soul cultivation liquid Night Sorrow had obtained. Yao Yu and Song Yun have disappointed me greatly. Monarch Shen Shao sighed. After knowing about Night Sorrow's decision, Monarch Shen Shao notified the other monarchs of the Nine Cloud World Group. Those two bastards didn't come, Lord Xian Tian cursed. Forget it. I am very happy that most of you are here. One or two is nothing. Monarch Shen Shao shook his head. They're hostile to Night Sorrow, and they're coveting Night Sorrow's resources. They'll regret it in the future. The Seven Rains sovereign sneered and cupped his hands at the others before turning to leave. The other monarchs also shook their heads and left. Everyone despised Monarch Sangyun and Yao Yu's actions. After No Beginning Sovereign returned to Endless Mountain, he opened the jade bottle. After opening it, his expression changed. Master, what's wrong? Luo Qi Sha, King 7 Kills, asked. He had followed No Beginning Sovereign for many years and had never seen such a drastic change in his expression. I owe him a big favor. Currently, I have no way to repay him. No Beginning Sovereign shook his head. He understood that it was because he bowed to express his apology that he had received Night Sorrow's approval. Therefore, Night Sorrow had given him an opportunity. Little brother, you and your 6th senior brother have made a good friend. You have to work hard. Otherwise, you will not be able to keep up. No Beginning Sovereign looked at Heifeng and said. Master, I do not understand. Heifeng rubbed the back of his head and said. Night Sorrow gave me 3 drops of soul cultivation liquid. No Beginning Sovereign did not hide it from his disciple. Haha. This is a good friend. He is a true friend. Heifeng said happily. Chapter Unspecified Currency Section 1-inch friends are not separated by status. He is a king and you are a half-step king. Would you feel comfortable sitting together and drinking tea? For the sake of friendship, you have to keep up. Even if you cannot keep up, the gap cannot be too big. No Beginning Sovereign looked at Heifeng and said. Heifeng bowed and nodded. He understood what No Beginning Sovereign meant. Qi Sha, if you have nothing to do, come to Heaven Mystic World more often. Night Sorrow has built a city called 7 Night City. If you have any trouble, help him out. If it is a big problem, inform Monarch Xian Tian or me. No Beginning Sovereign instructed his eldest disciple, Luo Qi Sha. I thank you on behalf of Night Sorrow, Master. Heifeng bowed and said. I don't need it. Even without the soul cultivation liquid, would still do it. Yishang left the continent of the 9 Cloud Worlds to fight for the safety of the continent of the 9 Cloud Worlds. As the king of the continent of the 9 Cloud Worlds, I have the responsibility to help him, said No Beginning King, shaking his head. Luo Qi Sha and Heifeng looked at each other. Neither of them understood what No Beginning Sovereign meant. Seeing his disciple's confusion, No Beginning Sovereign told him what happened to Night Sorrow. The Red Emperor country is too shameless. They actually used the 9 Firmament World Group to threaten Night Sorrow. After hearing No Beginning Sovereign's words, Heifeng was so angry that his hair stood on end. No Beginning Sovereign stood up and left. There was nothing he could do about this. Little brother, we can't interfere in these matters. Our boundless mountain owes Yishang too much. Your 3rd senior sister's lifespan was given by him. Master's opportunity was also given by him. I will be going to the profound heaven world soon. You have to work hard in your cultivation. Otherwise, the gap between you and your 6th senior brother, 3rd senior sister, and Yishang will only grow bigger and bigger. Luo Qisha warned Heifeng before he stood up and left. After knowing the whole story, even if No Beginning Sovereign did not ask him to do it, there were some things he would do. Heifeng waved his arm and left the No Beginning Palace. He had the motivation to cultivate. Night Sorrow and the others came out of the teleportation array. The location they were at was the Qing Emperor city of the Reincarnation World, the capital of the Qing Emperor dynasty. Princess, Are we going back to the Qingyuan Palace or to the army's encampment? Zhua Tingyun asked. Let's go to the Qingyuan Palace first. Your Majesty still has to meet father and brother Crown Prince. Princess Qingyuan said. In the Qing Emperor dynasty, the number 1 person was naturally the Qing Emperor. The number 2 person was the Crown Prince who was in charge of the Qinglin army. Then, there was the commander of the Qingyuan army, Qingyuan. After flying for a while, the group entered the vast Qingyuan Palace. This was the residence of Princess Qingyuan. Looking at the guards at the door, whose cultivation could not be detected, Knight Sorrow was shocked. This was the style of the top forces in the supreme world. The guards at the door were all intermediate king level and above. Chapter 11:11. Entering Qingyuan Palace, Qingyuan arranged for Knight Sorrow to stay in the guest house. Looking around the guest house, Knight Sorrow made a cup of tea. Hong Yi, Laning, you two are different from me. I'm a doppelganger, so there's danger and leeway. You two are the main body, so you must always pay attention to your own safety. We're your followers, so there shouldn't be a problem if we listen to your orders. You don't have to worry about us. Laning said. Take these Saint Spirit stones and use them for your cultivation. Take the Spirit Fount pills as well. Knight Sorrow took out some Saint Spirit stones and the Yun Spirit pills he refined later and gave them to Hong Yi and Laning. Thank you. By the way, we're your followers now, so it's not appropriate to call you by your name. Calling you Sector Lord will expose your background, and we can't call you Commander. What should we call you in the future? Hong Yi said. They were about to enter Qingyuan army, so calling him Commander Han was taboo. Then just call me Young Master. Knight Sorrow thought for a moment and said. Translator, Nyoibo Studio Editor, Nyoibo Studio. Hong Yi and Laning nodded. Danger and opportunity coexist. We've come to world of reincarnation, and as long as we work hard, we'll get what we want. The only thing we're lacking now is our starting point. We can't even see the cultivation of the guards at the door. Knight Sorrow said. Hong Yi and Laning nodded. World of reincarnation was too deep, and King was nothing. If they hadn't followed Knight Sorrow and Princess Qingyuan, they wouldn't have been able to establish themselves here. Drinking tea, Knight Sorrow felt that the current situation was not bad. He only brought a little soul-nourishing tea, and left the rest for his main body to improve his soul cultivation. His main body used time acceleration to improve his cultivation in the pagoda of time and space, and his energy cultivation could quickly catch up with his realm. His realm could also be deduced based on his comprehension. However, Knight Sorrow's main body wasn't deducing his realm cultivation yet. While improving his cultivation, he fused the will of time and space, and set off towards the will of time and space. Of the 4 high-level attributes, the life and death attributes lean towards the increase of life level, the time and space attributes lean towards the increase of battle strength. The life and death attributes were the yin and yang attributes, while the time and space attributes were the time and space attributes. They were above all attributes below the supreme attribute. After coming to the world of reincarnation, Yishang relied on his control of the time and space attributes. Yishang didn't dare to expose the existence of the sovereign attribute and the void attribute. Otherwise, he would be killed. Young Master, once you enter the army, you must get a high position. That way, you won't easily become cannon fodder, Red Yi said to Yishan. Yes, there's nothing wrong with charging and breaking through enemy lines. However, if you're controlled by many people, it's easy for problems to arise. It's not good to meet a boss with a more ruthless personality. Yishang nodded. Let's see how Princess Qingyuan arranges it. No matter if it's a small team leader or a large team leader, they all follow the commander. It's very important what kind of commander we are placed under. If we meet someone with a gentle personality, it's easy to get along. Knight Sorrow nodded, but he felt that Princess Qingyuan wouldn't arrange for him to be in the position of cannon fodder after putting in so much effort. At this time, Qingyuan came to the Qing Emperor's palace. This time, she was ordered by the Qing Emperor to go to the Nine Firmament world to find someone with a virtuous body. As for why Qing Wan arranged for Night Sorrow to be in the Qing Wan army, it wasn't her own decision. The Qing Emperor arranged for Qing Wan to go because he wanted his daughter's subordinates to be stronger. If he didn't want to give someone to Qing Wan, he wouldn't have sent Qing Wan. After entering the Qing Emperor's palace, Qing Wan first went to the Crown Prince's palace. In the Qing Emperor's palace, the Qing Emperor was the master, but many things were handled by Crown Prince Qing Lin. "Sister, you're back. Did everything go well?" Qing Wan entered the palace. Crown Prince Qing Lin, who was originally writing a document, stood up. Qing Lin's body was a little weak. He wore a light purple battle robe with a qilin embroidered on it. He had a silver crown on his head. He looked very scholarly, but those who knew him knew that not only was his position high in the Qing Emperor's dynasty, his own strength was also unparalleled. "Greetings, brother Crown Prince. Everything went well. I've already brought the person back. After greeting you, I'll report to father." Qing Wan smiled and said, "It's good that it went well. A subordinate with a virtuous body is 100 benefits and no harm." Qing Lin smiled and said, "In the Qing Emperor's dynasty, there were many princes but only one princess. Logically speaking, as the only princess of the Qing Emperor's dynasty, Qing Wan should have the most comfortable life. However, that was not the case. All the sons and daughters of the Qing Emperor were treated the same. They were all fighting for the dynasty. The most outstanding ones were Crown Prince Qing Lin and Princess Qing Wan. They were also the closest to each other. Then, the two of them left the Crown Prince's palace. They passed through the Qing Emperor's palace and arrived at the Azure Sky Pavilion. The Azure Sky Pavilion was the place where the Qing Emperor cultivated. Only a limited number of people could enter and leave. If others entered without permission, they would be executed. When they arrived at the Azure Sky Pavilion, Qing Lin and Qing Wan bowed. "Come in." A majestic voice came from the Azure Sky Pavilion. Hearing the summons, Qing Lin and Qing Wan entered the Azure Sky Pavilion. Inside the Azure Sky Pavilion, an old man wearing a black robe embroidered with mountain and river patterns was playing chess with a middle-aged man wearing a brocade robe and a golden crown. Seeing Qing Lin and Qing Wan enter, the old man in the black robe stood up and saluted them. He was the Qing Emperor's divination master, Xian Daozi. "Greetings, father." "Greetings, Taoist master." Qing Lin and Qing Wan saluted the Qing Emperor and Xian Daozi. Xian Daozi was the Qing Emperor's personal attendant. In the Qing Emperor's dynasty, everyone had to respect him. "Sir, I'll take my leave first." Xian Daozi bowed to the Qing Emperor and nodded to Qing Lin and Qing Wan before leaving the Azure Sky Pavilion. "Have a seat, you two." "How is Qing Wan?" The Qing Emperor waved at Qing Lin and Qing Wan. "I paid a small price. Everything else went well." Qing Wan said. "Talents are always arrogant. Paying a small price is nothing." The Qing Emperor nodded. "It was originally very difficult to succeed. It was the Red Emperor's kingdom's Qi Du who got involved and gave me a chance," Qing Wan said. "Very difficult to succeed? No way. Is there anyone who can resist your invitation?" Qing Lin said with a smile. "It's true. That guy is very stubborn and is not afraid of threats. Not only is he a body of merit, but he is also a sector master of a world. When we found him, he was just a clone who was not afraid of death," Qing Wan said. "A sector master of a world. It seems that he is not just a body of merit. He is also a person who is favored by the heavens." The Qing Emperor nodded. "It's a bit of an exaggeration. He himself is a legend. He is only a little over 100 years old, and now he is a king with 2 high-level attributes. He is very strong at fighting above his level. The reason he succeeded this time was because of the threat from the Red Emperor's kingdom. It made him feel disgusted and apprehensive. That was why Qing Wan had the chance to bring him back," Qing Wan said. Chapter 11-12. The stability and rise of a force is accompanied by killing. When there is killing, there will be sins. When there are too many sins, it will naturally affect the rise and fall of a force. At this time, it is very important for a person with a body of merit to join. It may hurt his merit, but it can't be helped. The Qing emperor, who was wearing a brocade robe and a golden crown, said with illusory and real energy gathering around him. Maybe it's a coincidence. He joined the Qing emperor's expedition this time. It won't hurt his merit, at least it won't hurt his merit, because his starting point is to fight. It is for the Red Emperor's country to fight against the threat of the Nine Clouds world. Qing Yuan said. Good. Killing the goose that lays the golden eggs is not the way of a king. Father is not willing to destroy a person with a body of merit. It is even a sin. This is the best. The Qing emperor said. Congratulations, father. Congratulations, sister. Qing Lin said with a smile. Qing Wan, what do you plan to do? The Qing emperor asked. 2 positions, my daughter's personal guards, and the Thunder Army under Commander Lei Ting. Qing Wan said. Sister, the Thunder Army must fight in every battle. Is this appropriate? Qing Lin's expression changed. Qing Wan nodded and told him her thoughts. She felt that Yi Shang needed to sharpen himself and grow. Now that he was full of sharpness, it was the time for him to fight. It was also the time for Yi Shang to establish himself. You want him to accumulate merits and then get to a more important position, right? The Qing emperor asked. Yes, he is a talent that must be valued. Not to mention his strength and potential, he is also a heavenly alchemist and weapon refiner. His attainments and formations are also very profound. Qing Yuan said. Very good. We will follow your decision. However, father wants to meet this young man when he has time. You can all leave. The Qing emperor waved his hand. Qing Lin and Qing Yuan bowed to the Qing emperor and then left the Azure Sky Pavilion. After walking out of the Azure Sky Pavilion, Qing Lin patted his forehead. Father might be interested in this night's sorrow. Qing Yuan was also stunned for a moment. She and Qing Lin didn't know much about Qing Emperor, but Qing Emperor loved formations and refining weapons. When he said that Night Sorrow was a heavenly master, Qing Emperor had an obvious reaction. Maybe I'm just slightly interested. Who wouldn't be interested in such a person? Qing Yuan said after thinking for a while. Ever since Big Senior Brother went crazy, Father hasn't taken in any disciples. This Night Sorrow might be able to catch Father's attention, Qing Lin said. As one of the supreme figures in the world of samsara, the Qing Emperor only had one disciple, Sandalwood. Sandalwood was extremely talented. Her cultivation had improved rapidly, but her soul and state of mind had not kept up. Furthermore, she had been obsessed with studying formations, which had led her to go crazy. She was still imprisoned by the Qing Emperor, and no one could see her. Qing Yuan didn't say anything. After parting with Qing Lin, she returned to the Azure Phoenix Palace. While drinking tea, Qing Yuan was lost in thought. She felt that what Qing Lin said was possible. It was hard to find a famous cultivator, but it was also hard to find a good disciple. Cultivators with fame and status wouldn't take in disciples easily. If the disciple didn't achieve anything, it meant that the master was incompetent. If the disciple didn't do well, it would ruin the master's reputation. Night Sorrow was a sector lord, had the body of merit, and was also a king with 2 high-level attributes. It was normal for such a talent to attract the attention of the tycoon. Qing Yuan didn't have any orders in the Azure Phoenix Palace. Night Sorrow made pills every day, and then practiced his combat skills. Cultivation didn't mean fighting strength. When one was stuck in the realm and cultivation, the way to improve fighting strength was to improve fighting skills. The power of fighting skills was something that couldn't be ignored. Night Sorrow had his own understanding of fighting skills. There were defensive fighting skills, speed fighting skills, and offensive fighting skills. Offensive fighting skills were divided into control and killing moves. Night Sorrow didn't have any defensive fighting skills at the moment. What he was thinking about now was defensive fighting skills. Night Sorrow fused vibration force and ripple force into his chi shield. When faced with an attack, the chi shield would use a special method to eliminate the opponent's attack power. Night Sorrow had two ideas. One was time ripple force, the other was space ripple force. Currently, Night Sorrow controlled king-level energy of time and space. His willpower was also space and time willpower. If he used one method to defend against two types of energy, the opponent would be able to see through it. Therefore, he wanted to study too. Because the time attribute willpower and energy were higher than the space attribute, he first studied time ripple force. The blue shadow's attacks were violent. Night Sorrow let the blue shadow attack his defense. Then, he continuously improved the strength of the chi shield and the method to reduce the attack power. Blue One didn't summon him. Night Sorrow just calmed down and cultivated. Bit by bit, he polished away the flaws in the chi shield. After half a month, Night Sorrow had completely mastered the time ripple chi shield. The blue shadow's full power / only had 20% of its energy that could hurt Night Sorrow's body. The two of them used about the same amount of energy. Only R is the original version, #, the other J unspecified currency are all pirated copies. Normally, defense would consume more energy than attack. Now, Night Sorrow and the blue shadow used the same amount of energy. It could be seen that Night Sorrow's chi shield was at an extremely high level. When Blue One came to see Night Sorrow, she just happened to see the blue shadow's full power / being blocked by Night Sorrow. Clap. 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 Blue One clapped her hands. Night Sorrow's defensive fighting skill was too strong. Your Highness is here. Night Sorrow cupped his hands and greeted. Because all the servants in Blue One Palace called the princess Your Highness, Night Sorrow also called her that. In the Qing Emperor's empire, there were many princes and grandsons. However, only the Blue Qilan Crown Prince and Blue One Princess had the right to call her Your Highness. This was allowed by the Qing Emperor. Your chi shield is very powerful. Which expert taught you this? Blue One found a place to sit and said. This is a defensive fighting skill that I have been working on recently. I have embarrassed myself in front of Your Highness. Night Sorrow said. I have been working on it recently. I've researched it myself recently, not bad. Actually, this can't be considered a battle skill. Battle skills are just a general term in the normal world. Battle skills have different names according to their levels. Low-level cultivators use crudely called battle skills. Higher-level ones are called secret skills. Higher-level ones are called mystic skills. Your defensive technique is a true mystic skill, and its level isn't low. Princess Qing Yuan looked at Yishan as she spoke. I really don't know about this. I just feel that I can increase my combat strength. Night Sorrow said. He understood that the sovereign world was indeed different. The level of cultivation was high. Very few people create mystic skills, and they won't easily teach others. Therefore, mystic skills are rather rare. Normal practitioners can't get them. Blue One Princess once again looked at Night Sorrow in a higher light. Night Sorrow understood that many people didn't pay attention to energy techniques. In the end, it led to a brute force battle. They relied on their cultivation and didn't increase their combat strength. Chapter 11-13. After that, Princess Qing Yuan explained the situation of the Qing Yuan army to Night Sorrow. The Qing Yuan army was divided into 4 armies. The rear army was the Imperial Court Army, the left army was the Black Armored Army, the right army was the Flying Feather Army, and the Vanguard Army was the Thunder Army. There were a total of 4 generals and only 1 commander, and that was Princess Qing Yuan. #%up, Your Majesty plans to send you to the Thunder Army. Princess Qing Yuan explained the situation of the Qing Yuan army and spoke of her thoughts. Sure, there is no problem. Night Sorrow nodded his head. Okay, as long as you feel that there is no problem. Also, you will be the captain of your Majesty's guards. When your Majesty goes to war or when there is no war, you will follow by your Majesty's side. Princess Qing Luan said the second arrangement. I am afraid this is not too good. Knight Soro's strength is low. If I charge and break through enemy lines, I will at most die on the battlefield. However, Princess's safety is more important than the sky. Knight Soro cannot bear the responsibility. Knight Soro cupped his hands and said. Joining an army required one to fight and kill opponents. However, being the captain of the princess's guards was different. It involved more things. Don't worry, we will talk about this later. Follow your Majesty to the Qing Luan army first. After familiarizing yourself with it, we will see what position you can take. Princess Qing Luan changed the topic. The Qing Luan army's encampment was at Lin Tian Cliff outside the Qing Emperor's city. It was the southern gate of the Qing Emperor's empire. Princess Qing Luan brought Zhuo Tingyun and the guards, as well as Knight Soro, Hong Yi, and Lan Yi to sit on the teleportation circle in the mansion and teleport to the Qing Luan army's encampment at Lin Tian Cliff. When they arrived at their destination, Knight Soro saw 4 neat barracks. Those were the 4 armies of the Qing Luan army. The situation of the army was different from what Knight Soro had imagined. There weren't many soldiers. After probing with his soul power, Knight Soro discovered 4 armies, each with only 4,000 soldiers. As if he had seen through Knight Soro's thoughts, Zhuo Tingyun opened his mouth. The Green Phoenix army doesn't want trash, they only want elites. That's why there aren't many people, only 17,000. 10 people form a small team, and the leader is a small team leader. 100 people form a large team, and the leader is a large team leader. 1,000 people form a large team, and the leader is a commander. What about the other 1,000? Knight Soro nodded at Zhuo Tingyun. It's the Green Phoenix battalion that this commander commands. It's independent of the 4 armies. Zhuo Tingyun explained to Knight Soro once again. Qing Luan led a group of people into the command tent and sat down. After a while, a few people came to the tent to pay their respects. Has it been quiet recently? Have there been any movements from the Red Emperor's country and the Dark Abyss? Princess Qing Luan asked. The Red Emperor's country has been mobilized from time to time, but there have been no abnormal movements. However, the Dark Abyss's army has shown signs of invading. Even if the princess doesn't return, this subordinate still has to report. A middle-aged man bowed and reported. The middle-aged man was wearing a silver armor. His body was emitting a dense killing intent and his face had a resolute expression. Seems like the war isn't far away. Thunder God General, this time your Majesty has brought a person to your Thunder God General. Princess Qing Luan said to the man who reported the news, who was the Thunder God General. Reporting to the commander, the Thunder God General's organization is complete. We don't need any more people. This subordinate will also seriously recruit new people. The Thunder God General said. In the Green Phoenix army, there is no nepotism. Your Majesty also won't use any connections. He is Knight Soro. Whether or not he is suitable for the Thunder God General is enough. Princess Qing Luan said. Facing the Thunder God General, she was also somewhat helpless. The Thunder God General's temperament was like this. It could even be said that he was somewhat old-fashioned. Elder Zhuo, bring Knight Soro out for a walk. Tell me about the Thunder God General's situation. After explaining her position, Princess Qing Luan nodded to Zhuo Tingyun. Zhuo Tingyun bowed and brought Knight Soro and the others out of the tent. He then talked about the history of the Green Phoenix Army, military achievements, and rules. In the Green Phoenix Army, only the rank of captain and above could not stay in the barracks. The rest of the soldiers had to stay in the barracks to train and cultivate. Don't blame the Thunder God General for rejecting you. In the Green Phoenix Army, the Thunder God General's fighting strength is the strongest, the most cohesive army, and also the army with the most outstanding military achievements. There were many people who held high positions in the Qing Emperor's imperial court who wanted to send their descendants to the Thunder God General for military achievements. In the end, they were chased away by the Thunder God General. On this point, the Thunder God General will not give face to anyone, including the imperial princes and imperial descendants. Zhua Tingyan said. The commander of the army must be upright and plain-spoken. He must adhere to his principles. Otherwise, how can he convince the masses and lead the army? Knight Sorrow understands this point and also admires it. Knight Sorrow nodded. He understood that the Thunder God General did not want him. In the command tent, the Thunder God General said, "Commander, that person is too young. Although he has the cultivation of a 2-star king at such a young age, this is very impressive. However, the Thunder God General's blood flows like rivers in every war. He might not be able to withstand it." Haha. Thunder God General, you are looking down on him. His name is Knight Sorrow. Since his debut, he has been fighting for fate. He has experienced many battles big and small. Moreover, he was once a commander and has led many world wars. He is not joining the Thunder God General for military achievements. He is truly capable. Do you think your Majesty will joke around with the Thunder God General? Princess Green Phoenix said. She understood that the Thunder God General looked down on Knight Sorrow. If the Thunder God General does not want him, my black armored army will take him. An old man with a thick beard said. He was the Black Armored Army's commander, Zhu Xuanjia. When the Green Phoenix Army was established, the 4 commanders were the commanders that supported the Green Phoenix Army. Therefore, the 4 armies of the Green Phoenix Army had the names of the 4 commanders. No. Thunder God General, bring Knight Sorrow over. This is a military order. As for whether he can become a small captain or a large captain, it will depend on his ability. In the future, he will be an ordinary soldier in the Thunder God General. Your Majesty's relationship with him has nothing to do with the Green Phoenix Army. Princess Green Phoenix said. This subordinate understands. Qin Leitang bowed and said. Then let's go. Bring him over and take a look. Your Majesty is also curious to see how far he can go. Princess Green Phoenix said. This commander will also go take a look. Zhu Xuanjia was very interested in Knight Sorrow. The other 2 commanders also followed. They all wanted to know what was so special about the person that Princess Green Phoenix thought highly of. After the few of them left the tent, they called Knight Sorrow and the other 2 and came to the tent where the Thunder God General of the Green Phoenix Army was. Knight Sorrow, this lord is the Thunder God General, Qin Leitang. The commander wants you to join the Thunder God General. To be honest, this lord does not want you. However, military orders cannot be disobeyed. Now, this lord has a few questions to ask you. If this lord is not satisfied, you can go back to where you came from. Qin Leitang looked at Knight Sorrow and said. Knight Sorrow understands. Commander, please ask. Knight Sorrow said. What is the most important thing in an army? Qin Leitang asked. The soul of the army, morale, unity, and the commander's wisdom. Knight Sorrow said. Tell me. Qin Leitang was stunned for a moment before saying. The soul of the army is the soul of the army. It is also the belief and ideology. Whether it is to protect the homeland or to expand the territory, this is very important. Knight Sorrow looked at Princess Green Phoenix and said. Chapter 11:14. Is there a difference? Zhu Xuanjia asked. Yes. If I'm in my own hometown, I'm only willing to fight to protect my hometown. I'm not willing to destroy the peace of other people's homes in order to expand our territory. Knight Sorrow spoke out his philosophy. Old Zhu, step aside. It's none of your business. What about now? Qin Leitang glanced at Zhu Xuanjia and asked again. To me now, it's fine as long as I obey military orders. No matter why the Qing Yuan army is fighting, I'm fighting to protect the pure land in my heart. The Qing Emperor's dynasty is protecting my hometown. I'm fighting for the Qing Emperor's dynasty. It's that simple, Knight Sorrow said. Actually, I think that obedience is the most important thing for an army. I'm satisfied with your answer just now. Besides, you also mentioned unity and the wisdom of a commander. I'd like to hear your opinion. Qin Leitang nodded and said. Unity is very important in a battle. A battle between armies is different from individual battles. We have to lean on each other's backs and protect each other. We have to be able to block the attacks for our brothers behind us. Knight Sorrow thought of his own god-slaying team. His eyes were filled with longing. Blocking the attacks for our brothers. This is a little difficult. However, the concept is good. Qin Leitang nodded. This is not a concept. I once led a team. Void Inquiry stage experts could kill Venerable Realm experts. Venerable Realm experts could join the battlefield of Sacred Realm experts because everyone was united and could block the attacks for their brothers. In every battle, there would be people who would be severely injured but none of them died. I'm sorry. Knight Sorrow talked too much. Knight Sorrow shook his head, trying to get rid of the thoughts brought by the god-slaying team. Original. Qin Leitang and the others fell into deep thought. After a while, Qin Leitang looked at Knight Sorrow again. Tell me more about the wisdom of a commander. The heart of a commander is the heart of an army. The will of a commander is the will of an army. To be frank, a general can't exhaust 1,000 soldiers to death. This is what it means. Knight Sorrow said. After hearing Knight Sorrow's words, the other two commanders, Bai Jinting of the court army and Lin Feiyu of the Flying Feather army, turned around. Knight Sorrow's words were too harsh. They were waiting for Qin Leitang to lose his temper. Zhu Xuanjia gave Knight Sorrow a thumbs up. Qin Leitang was not angry. Instead, he was very calm. It's not pleasant but it's also true. As for your position, it's up to you. The Thunder Army has a challenge system. If an ordinary soldier can defeat a squad leader, then the position will be swapped. If the squad leader defeats a squad leader, then the position will be swapped. As for the commander position, you have to succeed in the challenge and the commander feels that you can do it in other aspects. Only then can you take up the position. If you don't have enough strategy and ability, then you can only be the deputy commander. The soldier on duty explained the rules of the Thunder Army. Knight Sorrow understands. Although I can be an ordinary soldier, if I want to do more things, then I need a position. Knight Sorrow will challenge now. Knight Sorrow said as he followed Lai Kong closely behind him. Okay. Qin Leitang nodded. His impression of Knight Sorrow had changed. He didn't hate him. Instead, he admired him. Knight Sorrow, only the position of a squad leader and above can leave the camp freely when you're not on duty. It's up to you. Princess Qing Yuan said. Inform the Massacre God's territory to gather at the challenge arena. Qin Leitang ordered the soldier on duty. Following a special bugle call, the Massacre God's territory, one of the 4 territories of the Thunder Army, gathered. Zhu Xuanjia curled his lips. He was dissatisfied with Qin Leitang because the Massacre God's territory was the strongest territory in the Thunder Army. Meng Dan, we have a new member in the Thunder Army. He wants to challenge now. Arrange for the squad leaders to step forward. Qin Leitang said to the commander standing at the front of the Massacre God's territory. First squad leaders, line up in front of the arena. Meng Dan shouted to the 1,000 people behind him. Following Meng Dan's command, 10 people stood in front of the arena. Knight Sorrow, you can enter the arena now. Qin Leitang turned to look at Knight Sorrow and said. If you can't pick a weak one, I can call out 10 squad leaders for you to choose from. Meng Dan looked at Knight Sorrow and said with arrogance and contempt. There's no need. If you can do anything. If you can't, then there's no point in changing. Knight Sorrow walked to the arena and pointed to the leftmost person among the 10. Massacre God's Territory's first squad, squad leader Ah Chio. Ah Chio walked out. My name is Night Sorrow. Sorry for the offense. Night Sorrow cupped his fists at Ah Chio. It's nothing. If you have the ability, my squad leader position is yours. Ah Chio cupped his fists in return. Ah Chio, beat him up. Let him know that not just anyone can challenge the squad leaders of the Massacre God's Territory. The 1,000-man squad of the Massacre God's Territory roared. The 9 squad leaders standing below the arena also puffed up their cheeks. They wanted to laugh, but they couldn't. Ah Chio was the strongest among the squad leaders in the Massacre God's Territory. His strength was close to that of a squad leader. The Massacre God's Territory was the strongest in the Thunder Army, and the first squad was the strongest squad. Night Sorrow's expression didn't change. He knew that this was the army. They were united and ostracized outsiders. He was an outsider. Even if he wasn't a strong dragon, he had to challenge the local tyrant. Meng Dan waved his arm and everyone quieted down. Night Sorrow, the Thunder Army's challenge system is to stop when it's appropriate. However, sometimes, when everyone's cultivation is similar, there will be serious injuries and deaths. Therefore, you have to be mentally prepared. If you can't take it, just admit defeat. Ah Chio is a 1-star peak king. When he just became a 1-star king, he had the battle record of killing a 2-star king, Meng Dan said. He was a little annoyed with Night Sorrow, but he wasn't willing to bully a young man and cause him to fall. Thank you, Lord Commander, for your advice. Night Sorrow understands. Squad leader Ah Chio, please enlighten me. Night Sorrow nodded at Meng Dan and cupped his fists at Ah Chio. At this moment, the Green Phoenix Sovereign and the others also sat down on the chairs that the soldiers brought over to watch. Qin Leitang, just based on his calmness in the face of the pressure of 1,000 soldiers, you have profited greatly, Zhu Xuanjia said after sitting down. Qin Leitang nodded. At this moment, he understood that Night Sorrow should have experienced a lot. Normal people would have been shocked. Then I won't be polite. A broadsword appeared in Ah Chio's hand. His body flashed and rushed towards Night Sorrow. The broadsword was covered in flames. Night Sorrow restrained the energy of Split Sky and waved it to block. Their weapons clashed. Night Sorrow didn't move, but Ah Chio retreated a few steps. Ah Chio, who retreated, circled Night Sorrow and attacked rapidly. The flame energy sealed off the surroundings of Night Sorrow. After waving Split Sky to block 10 consecutive sword attacks, Night Sorrow swung his right hand. The energy in his body burst forth as he executed the space-revolving dragon kill and rushed towards Ah Chio. To defend against 10 moves, Night Sorrow did it out of respect for an old soldier. He didn't want Ah Chio to lose too badly. Now, it was time for him to make a move. The space-revolving dragon kill supported by the will of space and the rules of space was extremely fast. Before Ah Chio's broadsword could fully exert its energy, it was hit head-on. Chapter 11:15. After being hit by Night Sorrow's attack, Chio's expression changed drastically. Night Sorrow's attack was explosive, and it had a strong penetrating power. His arms had already lost all feeling from Night Sorrow's attack, and he could only use the power in his energy center to resist. If Night Sorrow's energy invaded his organs and energy center, then he would be in big trouble, and he would lose immediately. While Ah Chio was resisting, the energy in Night Sorrow's attack changed, and it turned into the power of time. He was caught off guard. Even if he was prepared, Ah Chio might not be able to defend against it. His body was sent flying, and he fell out of the arena. At this moment, the soldiers from the Massacre God's Territory who were waving their weapons and cheering for Ah Chio were all silent. The situation in the arena had changed too quickly. Thank you for saving me some face. I am not his opponent. This is not embarrassing. Ah Chio shook his arms and bowed to Night Sorrow. Captain Ah Chio, thank you for letting me win. Night Sorrow cupped his hands and cupped them to Ah Chio. Good. You have won. You are now a captain. Ah Chio, you don't have to change your position for the time being. I will make arrangements for Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow, do you still want to challenge? Qin Leitang looked at Night Sorrow and asked. He was very shocked inside his heart. Maybe the soldiers with low cultivation could not understand the situation in the arena, but the generals and commanders with high cultivation could naturally see it clearly. They started to defend continuously because Night Sorrow had saved Achio some face. The two of them were not on the same level at all. I still want to challenge. Night Sorrow nodded his head. Qin Leitang nodded his head at Meng Dan. Captain, step into the ranks. Captain, step forward in front of the arena. Meng Dan shouted at the people from the massacre god's territory behind her. Bang! 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 10 captains dressed in black armor stood in front of the arena. Night Sorrow, you have no choice this time. The 10 captains of the massacre god's territory are all here. Let's see who you choose, Meng Dan said. The only original edition, whose hashtag unspecified currency he is a thief, edition, I'm sorry, Night Sorrow didn't mean to offend you all, but today I want to fight for a better position. I will be a good soldier, and if I win, I believe I will be a good captain. Night Sorrow cupped his hands towards the 10 captains in front of the stage. This is the rule of the Qing One army, we will all respect it. Standing on the left side of the stage, a man wearing black armor spoke. I'll leave it to you then, Night Sorrow said to the man who spoke. Are you sure you want to choose me? It's better to be cautious, the black-armored man said. The Qing One army was the left and the right. Those who stood on the left were all people with high status and strength. As cultivators, no one would make a mistake. Therefore, the black-armored man asked. As an iron-blooded soldier, he didn't want Night Sorrow to make a mistake, so he emphasized it again. Night Sorrow nodded. He also knew that this black-armored man was the strongest and was already a 5-star king. He wanted to fight against this 5-star king. After joining the Qing One army, one had to lead the soldiers. Prestige was very important. If one won unfairly, then no one would be convinced, and it would be very difficult to lead the subordinates. Therefore, Night Sorrow chose Achio during the small captain challenge. Now, he chose this black-armored man. Wu Jia, go. Night Sorrow, if you win against Wu Jia, then you will be the captain of the massacre god's leader. No one will be unconvinced, and this commander will also acknowledge you, Meng Dan said. Wu Jia's feet shook, and a halo shot out from under his feet. He then landed on the stage. You are a 2-star king. You have the courage to challenge me. Even if you lose, this captain will still acknowledge you. Thank you, Captain Wu Jia, for your high regard. Please enlighten me. Night Sorrow's right hand spread out and nodded towards Wu Jia. He knew that this was a crucial battle. If he won, then he would have a firm foothold in the massacre god's leader and the Qing One army. Wu Jia waved his hand and pulled out the battle halberd on his back. It was also a long weapon. Take this. Wu Jia didn't waste any words, and his battle halberd chopped down towards Night Sorrow. Instead of chopping, it was more like smashing down. Wu Jia was an earth element intermediate king. His attack was powerful and dense. Night Sorrow's will of time and time law supported the space rend. He executed a time vibration wave and pierced towards Wu Jia's battle halberd. Wang! The two's weapons clashed, and vibrating sounds could be heard. Visible ripples spread out in all directions. Even though Night Sorrow had time acceleration and time energy vibration, he was still forced back 2 steps by Wu Jia's battle halberd. Fall! Wu Jia roared, and his arms exerted strength again, wanting to suppress Night Sorrow. Not necessarily. The time energy was exhausted, and Night Sorrow's bloodline talent erupted. The will of time and the will of space quickly switched, and the will of space supported the space revolving dragon kill was released. Pung! Night Sorrow's space revolving dragon kill landed on Wujia's battle halberd, and it was forced back. After breaking through Wujia's powerful attack, Night Sorrow's feet shook, and his body moved forward. The space rend continued to thrust forward, and the will and energy switched again. Wujia brandished his halberd, and their weapons clashed once more. However, Night Sorrow's moves were one after another. 2 types of energy, 3 types of energy, connected seamlessly, and once again repelled Wujia. This is a beast. Qin Leitang, you name your price. Give this person to me. Zhu Xuanjia said excitedly. Move aside, this is none of your business. Tang Hu. Zhu Xuanjia, if you don't want to waste any more time, send this guest off. Qin Leitang roared at a red-clothed man who was watching from the side. It was Tang Hu, the second commander of the Thunder Army. At this moment, almost all the soldiers of the Thunder Army had come to watch. Old Zhu, stop talking. He won't give it to you. Bai Jinting said with a smile. At this moment, on the stage, Night Sorrow and Wujia were attacking each other. The battle was very intense. All the soldiers of the Thunder Army were watching. Night Sorrow's cultivation was a 2-star king, and almost everyone could see it. Some people couldn't see Wujia's cultivation, but they all knew that Wujia was a 5-star king. Now that a 2-star king and a 5-star king were fighting so intensely, many people couldn't understand what was going on. You are very strong, but this is not enough. You will be the first to run out of energy. Wujia roared. Wujia's words were reasonable, and Night Sorrow understood it. Everyone understood it. Only by ending the battle quickly would Night Sorrow have a chance. If the battle continued, the loser would be Night Sorrow. This is enough to prove his strength. He has enough prestige to be a squad leader. If he didn't pick the strongest Wujia, he would have no problem being a squad leader. Lin Feiyu said. Not necessarily. Princess Qing Luan looked at the stage and said softly. She had seen the power of Night Sorrow's 3 battle skills. The current Night Sorrow hadn't reached this level yet. While Princess Qing Luan was speaking, Night Sorrow used his killer move. His bloodline talent burst forth, and spatial rend was released. With the support of the will of space and space law, as well as the will of time, Night Sorrow's spatial rend was extremely fast. It instantly slashed towards Wujia. Seal. Wujia's expression changed. It was too late to dodge. He could only use the will of Earth to support the Earth energy and block the spatial rend. At this moment, Night Sorrow changed his direction. Spatial dragon kill blasted towards Wujia's side. Chapter 11:16. Wujia, who was using all his strength to block Night Sorrow's space rend, took out a shield with his left hand and defended with all his might. However, Night Sorrow's space revolving dragon slash was a spiral penetrating attack. Wujia could not block it at all and was sent flying. The moment Wujia was sent flying, Night Sorrow used soul destruction slash. The deep purple crescent blade slashed towards Wujia's head. At this moment, all the monarchs and commanders were shocked. Soul attack techniques were very rare and almost impossible to find. Block. Wujia's soul power burst forth and blocked Night Sorrow's crescent blade in front of his head. While Wujia was using all his strength to block the crescent blade, Night Sorrow used Sky Rend. Not only was it supported by the will of time, but it was also supported by the will of space. Night Sorrow's Sky Rend seemed to pass through space and stopped in front of Wujia's throat. The battle ended. Night Sorrow kept the crescent blade. I lost. Wujia's expression was a little ugly. A 5-star king had used all his strength and lost to a 2-star king. He found it hard to accept. Sorry. Night Sorrow took 2 steps back and bowed to Wujia. It's nothing. Stand up where you fall. You will be the leader. I will submit. Wujia cupped his hands to Night Sorrow. He was sincerely convinced because if it was a life and death battle, his head would have fallen to the ground. Good, very good. Qin Latang clapped his hands. Princess Qing Luan nodded to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow was a 2-star king and won against a 5-star king. This made her feel very shocked. Although Wu Jia had just become a 5-star king, Night Sorrow's battle record was not bad even for a 4-star king. Night Sorrow, do you still want to challenge? Before Qin Latang could ask, Zhu Xuanjia asked. Chapter 4. Section 4 Inch to challenge Captain Wu Jia. Night Sorrow has overestimated himself. I will not continue. Night Sorrow bowed to Princess Qing Wan and the other generals who were watching. Night Sorrow, if you are the leader, do you have anything to say to your brothers? Qin Jinting asked Night Sorrow after waving his hand to let Wu Jia return to the team. Yes. Night Sorrow nodded. Qin Latang extended his right hand to Night Sorrow, inviting Night Sorrow to speak. Yi Shan turned around and looked at the people from Massacre God's territory and the other 3 territories. Looking at all of you, I thought of the brothers who fought alongside me. I don't know which team I will be assigned to and who I will fight alongside. I will not make any promises to anyone. I will not guarantee that all of my brothers will survive on the battlefield. If all of them survive, that is just a hope. Only the commander's orders can decide the outcome of the battle. However, I can promise that when I, Night Sorrow, participate in the battle, when you charge, you will definitely see my figure. When you retreat, turn around and I will definitely be behind you. Night Sorrow said. At this moment, Princess Qing Luan stood up and took the lead to clap. The other generals also clapped. Soon after, Massacre Gods and the other 3 leaders also clapped. Night Sorrow's words had infected their hearts. All soldiers needed such a comrade and leader. How is General Latang? Princess Qing Luan looked at Qin Latang and asked. Very good. These are the soldiers our Latang army needs. Meng Dan, Massacre Gods has a complete organization. Don't move them for the time being. You don't have an assistant now, so let Night Sorrow work with you. I will leave him to you. Qin Latang looked at Meng Dan and said. Meng Dan, you are brave but lacking in strategy. In the future, listen to Night Sorrow's opinions more. In addition, Night Sorrow will leave the Latang army for a month to familiarize himself with the situation. A month later, he will take up a position in Massacre Gods and also the captain of your Majesty's guards. If there is a military order, he will be there. Princess Qing Luan reminded Meng Dan and also instructed Qin Latang. We understand. Qin Latang and Meng Dan cupped their hands. Ah Chiu, bring Vice Commander Knight to rest. Generals and Massacre Gods captain will stay behind. The rest of you can disperse. Qin Latang gave the order. At this moment, Zhu Xuanjia, Lin Feiyu, and Bai Jinting bowed to Princess Qing Luan and left. The matter had already been settled. Even if they stayed behind, they would not be able to bring Night Sorrow away. In the main tent of the Latang army, Princess Qing Luan's seat was in the middle. Qin Latang's seat was slightly to the side. On the other side sat the generals and captains. Everyone has seen Night Sorrow's strength and spirit. In the future, he will be our brother. Do not reject him. Massacre God's captain cannot investigate his brother. Tang Hu, you bring people to investigate. I want to know everything about Night Sorrow's past. What kind of abilities and specialties he has are the most important. Qin Latang said to Tang Hu. No need. Your Majesty knows that you will do this. Therefore, his information is here. He is someone that your Majesty brought back under the orders of my father. However, you all know that there is nothing special about the Qing Wan army. He is just a normal vice commander. Qing Wan threw a piece of information to Qin Latang. Qin Latang looked at it seriously. Because there were many pages of information, he saw all the records about Night Sorrow. He knew that many of them were absolute secrets. He has commanded many battles and has also been a commander. Meng Dan, you really need to learn from him. His ability and talent are not fake. You all should not touch this information. Qin Leitang returned the information to Princess Qing Wan. Princess Qing Wan waved her hand and the information turned into ashes. Commander and General, don't worry. Perhaps I originally rejected outsiders. However, he said it well. As long as we charge, he will definitely be at the front and retreat behind. Just based on this point, I admire him. Massacre God's captain needs such a brother. I wholeheartedly approve of him. If his cultivation increases again, I will have to give up my position as commander. Meng Dan stood up and said. His arrival will only bring benefits to Massacre God's captain. Princess Qing Wan said. After saying a few words, Princess Qing Wan left. Chiu brought Night Sorrow, Hong Yi, and Lanning to a tent. Deputy Commander, our Massacre God's captain level tent originally didn't have a deputy commander. Therefore, Deputy Commander can only rest here first. Later on, the brothers will settle it. Captain Chiu is too polite. I didn't come to Qing Wan Legion to enjoy. I am very sorry about today's matter. Night Sorrow nodded towards Hong Yi and Lanning. After letting the two of them pack up, he cupped his hands towards Chiu. Deputy Commander, if you say so, it's meaningless. The Massacre God's leader is a true fighter. No one will care about such trivial matters. Today, Chiu has broadened my horizons. I even have some understanding of the concept of battle. I have to thank Deputy Commander, Chiu said with a smile. At night, Meng Dan brought the 10 captains of Massacre God's captain to Night Sorrow's tent. Seeing them, Night Sorrow cupped his hands and greeted them. Cultivation aside, these people were all hot-blooded men that needed to be respected. You might not be used to it. Slowly, you will get used to it. In the future, everyone will live and die together. There won't be so much etiquette. Meng Dan said with a smile. Then Night Sorrow won't be polite. It seems like Captain Wu Jia is a person who likes to drink. So am I. Night Sorrow looked at Wu Jia, who was holding 2 wine jugs, and said. You too. Will it work? Wu Jia placed the wine jugs on the table. His eyes were filled with doubt. You're tuning into the Dreamy Love Stories YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.